Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's the Thursday Night Forum, and things are moving fast now. The window has opened, and you know, what's that saying they say, Gary? Those who speak don't know, and those who don't know speak.
I guess so. Hello, everybody in the chat. I see Big Gunner's joined us early. Ray, good. Another Thursday, another show. So yeah.
Thursday.
Whatever. What was that quote again? You said say it. Say
I
it
think
again.
it was coined by Gazetas of all people.
I do. I think it was I do. Right?
Those who
Or was
speak
it? Or was
don't
Gazetas? Oh, okay.
those who speak don't know, and those who don't know speak.
That's partly true, but it's partly true. I've seen a lot of more people joining us.
Yeah,
Welcome,
we're getting there. We're getting
welcome.
there. We'll be able to get through a few comments today. It's Gary and myself. Tony will join, and Alonso may join even later. Tony said he's going to miss half the show. He said he was going to miss half the fun, Gary. So
Yes.
there you go. And as an Arsenal fan right now, Gary, I don't know which is better. Like we put ourselves through this turmoil. We don't know what the club's going to do, and then all of a sudden they just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that is crazy how that works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least you know what? At least they said they did a lot of research. Since they didn't do anything in January, it shouldn't have been an issue getting with. So it's good that they've identified whoever they want. And it sounds like they identified at least somebody who's interested, other teams, especially some of the big boys. So
Yeah.
that's good to see.
Uh,
And yeah,
a player that had interested Liverpool had interested Man United, and it's a little bit sweeter. We got in ahead of Man United as well, and the player wants to come to the Premier League and he's excited to come. So we'll talk about him a little bit more. He is great name, Fabio, right?
Fabio, yeah.
Fabio
Well,
and Vieira.
I
There's
don't.
two names.
Okay. I
The
think the
one with the
Vieira
long
part is.
hair, and then there's Vieira.
Yeah, I
You
think the
know,
Vieira part is the part that everybody likes. Everybody likes that one.
uh,
So
Big Skinner said we've signed another player. Eyeballs. Bring on Tielemans and Jesus next week. Mr. Tom, I'm sorry, but I would take Rafinha in a heartbeat.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the two main ones for us now, I think we were just talking just before we came on here, Gary, is going to be Tielemans and Jesus, the two
yes,
primary targets.
yes. Yeah, and if they're on the list, then they need to we need to close those guys down. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Mr. Tom is here.
We are alive. We are alive. Listen, join in the chat. It's Gary and myself. You'll have some more opportunity for your comments to get shown up there because Tony and Alonso are not here yet, and they'll be joining. Stan may not be joining tonight, but the big news, Gary, Fabio Vieira deal agreed, 40 million euros, probably about 32, 34 million English pounds. And I understand the medical tomorrow.
Yep, yep,
So
yep. So
there's some
I
moving
guess they
parts.
have to do all that video stuff. So medical, and then a video, and then we get to see it, and then it's all done, and we move on to the next one. So yeah, no,
20,
it sounds good. I mean, that went really fast, right? Because I don't believe when I woke up this morning, Fabio Vieira was a name that was related that
no.
had any correlation or any links to Arsenal.
I started to hear about it at 11 a.m. over here, which would be
Hmm.
about 4 p.m. UK time. And it just transpired through the hours. Fabrizio Romano had to update his tweets, I think, 3 times to bring us up to speed. But things moved very, very fast.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and listen, like we were saying, this is what Arsenal can do if we let them do their work. It just is frustrating that there's no transparency. I don't know if we want that. Do we want that, or do we just want the club to quietly do its business, Gary?
Well, I mean, they tell us that they've been planning things, and I think every day that we don't see any significant movement, we're like, well, what was all that planning for? If you're still like not there yet, and it's not like we have it's not like we have just one hole to fill. We've got lots of holes to fill. So there's
Mhm.
lots of players potentially if you have the funds that would be coming in, right? So for me, I think I don't know if they streamline it and that's the way they do things, but if you got holes to fill, I kind of feel like just fill them all,
Mhm.
and hopefully the order is, it shouldn't matter the order, and it shouldn't matter how much you spend. You know how much you want to spend on a player, so it's not going to go any higher than that. So there's no reason. Like I always hear, you don't want to go and throw your money at this player because the next player won't get it. And it's not even that money's not even going to the player, right? The monies that we're all concerned about, the money that goes to the club. Who cares if they get chipped or if they got more than they should? If you get the player you want, right? So I say, let them handle it however they want. They know how much they want to spend. Okay,
Shout out to
Richard has joined us.
Richard,
I see.
Arsenal TV. Good, long time no talk, Richard, and good to see you here.
Mm,
And yeah, definitely good to have a player in the house as well, or about to be in the house. I read Fabrizio Romano's Twitter feed for the first time the other day. It's incredible how one man finds out all that info. And I'm sure he's got sources all over Europe. And, they're using these journalists to get the word out as well and be the conduit, right?
Yeah, we've got set of reporters like that over here as well. I don't think they have a network, just because that's too many cooks in the kitchen. Next thing you know, that information gets out, and then your credibility is dropped. So I feel like he's just got a busy phone, and he's probably attached to it all times. So, because
Especially this time of
you know
year.
what I mean, like it's like he doesn't have, like, if one person leaks, then that means that team's cut off and that agent's cut off and that player will never, won't, all those types of things. So I kind of feel like, what, he just has, you know, it's cool. It's cool that when he gets it, it's pretty much a done deal, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
same
One
thing
of
for
those.
us. David Ornstein, as soon as he says something, the Arsenal news is credible and probably has a lot of backing behind it. But if
Yeah.
for all football, Mauricio gets it, pretty much it's happening.
Romano is very accurate, says Mr. Tom. It doesn't seem like he pumps out clickbait.
Yeah,
And
he doesn't need to, right? He's got like you say, he's got the contact. So,
you also
uh,
you also have to read it very carefully. The things you have to know what personal terms between the player means, what clubs have agreed. Personal terms is slightly different to personal terms with the player. So a lot of fans, football fans in general, will read things and just take it from there and just run with it. Stan, we will have a good show. Thanks for dropping in and saying hello. I know more about Arsenal than Ornstein. Um, Stephen, and this is one of the
your
things.
credibility isn't the same as Ornstein's, though, Mister Tom.
Yeah,
When Ornstein speaks, we know it's not. He's a puppet man. He's the puppet, right? And there's a puppet master telling him what to say. When you
um,
talk, there might be a puppet master, but I don't think he's. Well, let's not even go there. I don't.
I wanted to clear this one up, so glad Stephen asked the question. 6 goals, 14 assists as midfielder in Portugal last season. Are we signing him instead of Tielemans? I'm going to say he is as well as Tielemans. We're going to get Tielemans as well.
Well, I believe that he brings something a little bit different because he's
Mm-hmm.
an attacking mid, right? And I
Yeah,
don't think Tillmans is, like, for me. All the talk hasn't been, what? He's an attacking mid. He's like more of an 8, right?
left-sided
So,
eight. Yeah,
so that's just a midfielder. I guess what they call it, what the position is called, but it's more further. He's going to be further up the pitch, but he's not. Doesn't necessarily have to be the guy to make the last pass. He might be the guy before the guy who makes the last pass. So,
well, let's
yeah.
just admit it right now, Gary. We've all been looking at YouTube videos. Even those people who are producing content and laughing at Arsenal fans looking at YouTube. We've all done it. Even the
Oh,
content makers.
we
Makers.
pretty. I've actually gone on. I've actually seen, like, where they have to collaborate. They take all of the shows when we've had a really bad showing, and I was actually in one of them. So it's yeah. So yeah. So whatever you put out here, it's free for everybody to use,
Yeah.
and you might find yourself on a collaboration of, like, responses to whatever Arsenal does to us, and Arsenal does a lot to us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
every week there's something new that Arsenal does to us.
So,
I mean, I
Gary,
look at those stats and I'm like, they're really good, right?
yes.
Yes, they aren't going to be. It isn't the Premier League, but he's young, one, and two, he's got potential. So, and he's one of the best in the league. So it's not like we're taking like a guy that's in the middle of the pack. He's actually one of the better assist makers in that league.
The
So
top, I think he's
if you
one of
you
the
know what I mean,
top
if
in this.
you're taking one of the top players
Mhm.
that a league has, no matter which one it is, you get one of the top play. You're getting somebody who's got hopefully some potential and can translate it over to the Premier League. So yeah, I mean, of course, if I don't know if you did, but I did take a look at a couple of YouTube videos to
We
see,
all did,
yeah, to see
right?
what he's all about, and it all looks good. As I kidded in the, I don't know if I kidded with you or not, but it looks like he can. Oh yeah, I almost said something pretty
Multiple
pretty bad.
crimes.
Not not indicative of my style of YouTubing for sure.
Just more worried about finding myself on the police's radar than the clip video.
I Yeah, see that's why, yeah.
Richard's worried about the Jesus deal. I believe that's moving as well, Richard. So in the coming days, uh, pretty confident about, I believe, 42 million English pounds, close to 50 million euros for Jesus. And I don't think that's a bad price. We're probably going to fund 2/3 of Holland, but we need what we need. And City of God Holland. So we need a
Yeah.
striker. Lacazette has vacated the number 9 shirt, so Jesus will probably come and take the Arsenal 9 rather than the Manchester City 9, because I believe Haaland wants that 9 as well, and a lot of publicity can't be done unless all of the shirt exchanges have happened. Um, in total, we paid over 100 million for Aubameyang and Lacazette, but we let them both go for free, and that's something we're going to have to talk about, Richard, down the line. Everybody, we're going to have to maybe not this summer, but we're going to have to wheel and deal. We're going to have to let go of players for good prices. That maybe Kieran Tierney. These are some discussions that have to be had. Cash in on Kieran Tierney while he's still got some value. Arsenal starting to splash the cash. I'm not sure you need a Brazilian winger now. And there might be some truth to that. We'll see
Well,
how
I was just going to say on that
dominoes
comment from
fall.
Richard, right? The
Yep,
100 million. The one thing that we did, those were players, right? I believe that were older than 25, 26, right? When we brought
correct.
them in,
Yeah.
right? So we're not. If you look, nobody is at that age. I mean, I
It's the
think.
it's the free part. I think that if we got something back from 100 million,
Well, no, we've got players that are younger, right? So the potential, like they could be
yeah,
that player that leaves or you let go at some point
at 26,
and get
27.
some money for
Mm-hmm.
them because
Yeah.
either it doesn't work out for you or you need to make a big move, right? So
And
you
without
can't do
getting
that. You can't
into
move these big salary guys
yeah,
when they're hitting close to 30.
and without getting into a big topic and going off topic because we want to stay on Fabio Vieira. Um, you know, we've Arsenal have gone two different routes in the last 3 or 4 years. We tried to sign all of these big players to get us over the hump and get us back in the Champions League, and that did not work right up until the Europa League final under Unai Emery and even Arteta. Winning a trophy. That was the end of that team, and we had to change our focus to being younger. And I think last season we saw a definite change, Gary, in the focus of our transfer targets.
No, definitely, definitely. I mean,
Well,
we,
Portuguese player, like we said, one of the I think he topped the assist list last season, following in the footsteps of Portuguese players have come to the English Premier League and prospered.
the
Ronaldo
one thing you
did,
have to remember is who is his teammate.
Luis
Yeah,
Diaz,
yes, yeah.
Luis Diaz.
Yeah. So when I went into one of the websites and it lists like the top 5 players, you
Hmm.
got Luis Diaz like number 2, and
Yep.
then you've got Fabio
And
Vieira like number 5 in the list for the team
from
as far
what
as that
um,
ranking. So he is coming from a team. He has played with a player who you've seen come into the Premier League and actually be able to perform right away. So I don't think it's going to be too big for him. It's definitely he might not be as good as Luis Diaz, but he's coming from the same kind of the same squad, the same training, and all of that, and he'll be prepared. I mean, I think as much as those leagues may not have some of the better players, they do play a tough style of football. So you do see him get put down to the ground. So I kind of feel like some of the toughness that you need might be there. He might not be able to hold up, but he's definitely used to the the uh, the s- the uh, the
Hustle and
the wear
bustle.
and tear the wear and tear that the Premier
Yeah.
League puts on the body, right? So
Hustle, bustle, wear and tear, the intensity, all of these things that we associate with the English Premier
yeah,
League. And I was reading Gary a little bit earlier about so Fabio Vieira has just turned 22. May 30th is his birthday, so he's just turned 22. He's pretty much had a breakout season here. We say 27 games played, 6 goals and 14 assists, so 20 goal involvements in 27 games. Really, really good. And I was reading a piece where that he really came on and exploded in the last 3 or 4 months because Luis Diaz moved to Liverpool, and I guess he was given more license to get on the field. The coach at FC Porto had not believed in him until Diaz moved on, and that's when he really boosted his numbers in the last 3 or 4 months. That's what I was reading anyway, Gary. But at 22 years old, we are pretty much. Do you think it's a bit of a gamble, right? This is a one season. This one season where he's kind of broke out. He's 22. He's very young.
yeah.
He's got plenty of room to
Well,
develop and
well, I
get
think
better.
there's levels to this thing, right? I mean, I don't. Maybe I might be wrong on this, but Darwin Nunez, like, has
Mhm.
he been a big name?
No.
Until this season. I mean, I
Yeah.
know his name has come up, but it was always, like you said, a risk, right? And this season, he actually showed up and showed a lot more. So now you're like, is it 1 year? Is it two? And you take that risk. So I kind of feel like it's the same level. It's the same type of risk, just at a
Yeah.
different level. I mean,
Definitely.
Darwin Nunez is worth a lot more, but in terms of so that's your risk there. But I think we need to take some risks and bring in players that have the skill sets that we need. Definitely younger works, and we need lots of players. He fits
Yeah.
that bill that we can get
Yeah.
him, and not
We're
like
gonna.
it won't hurt us in terms of getting other players to
So
support him
we'll get
or
we'll
play
get
next
through
to
a few
him.
comments and then we'll just talk about where we actually see him fitting into our team.
Hmm.
So let's take a few comments. Vieira signing hopefully forces Xhaka out of the club as the left aid. If we sign Tielemans on top of Vieira here, it does look like Granit Xhaka might be thinking, I'm not going to get too many minutes here. And then you really start to test Granit Xhaka's loyalty to Arsenal, if that's the way he wants to phrase it, or if he will be interested in picking up the phone and calling Jose Mourinho at Roma again this summer. You know, something to think about. Mr. Tom said Arsenal starting to splash the cash. I'm not sure. You need a Brazilian winger. We said that one already. Uh,
Hey, guess what? We need it doesn't matter. I'd rather have that problem than the other problem that we had last March, April, May. So you know what? The more the merrier, and we have lots of games for everyone. We should, and we have 5 subs. All this stuff should play into
Lots of
having a
games,
big
lots of
squad,
games.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Rafinha is a young Alexis Sanchez. Um, let's hope we get him. Rafinha is a bad influence in the dressing room. Much of it from trust me. So he spent a little while big up in his reputation. Now you're trying to break it down, Mr. Tom. Reese Nelson could be used as a player plus cash.
Yeah. If he's that bad of an influence, you know what? We should take him off your hands, because you really don't want to be struggling again, maybe sitting at the bottom of the table, right? So, and that's a distraction you just cannot afford. So we'll take him off your hands so you don't have to deal with him. And then, you'll have a more, the continuity inside your locker room will be perfect when he leaves. All right. Because
Yeah.
everybody will be one.
BX BX Gunner is comparing him to a Bruno Fernandez type player. And
Mm,
he's also saying BX is also saying our Europa League campaign will be very exciting if we close these deals.
yeah.
Is it too far for me to talk about Santi Cazorla in relation to Fabio.
You know what? It's funny you said that because that was when you were going through talking about Fabio. I was thinking in my head like when I do recall when Cazorla came over, it was like, well, he's coming from Barcelona, doesn't play much, all of this stuff, and you're like, is he gonna work? And when he comes to Arsenal, you're like, what? This guy couldn't play there?
Hmm.
He couldn't get on the field, right? He couldn't get on the field, and that's one of those things where either the opportunity knocks and you take it and run through the door. And basically, he's been, he was perfect for us, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like, you know what, when you have, it's a good problem to have, right? Where you have too many players, and some will creep, slip through the cracks. But that just, the more you bring in, the more players see that, the more they know. You know what? If it doesn't work out here, I know I've got it set for the next gig that comes up, because I know they're going to train me well, they're going to coach me well, and that's what we want to get to the point, right, where the backup on our team is just as good as a start on another one. So that's where I
Now,
want to be.
the position, where do you see him playing based on what you know, which is admittedly, I didn't know a lot about the player until today. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to sit
Yep.
here and say I'm a
Yeah.
fan. We're fans like all of you guys watching us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, right side of midfield,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
right eight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know he can play right in the middle if he needs to. I mean, depending on how we decide to go about it, he could be up up front, with Partey behind them, and
Hmm.
play Erdogan if that's what they wanted to do. Or I kind of feel like it just gives us another player that we can bring in who can
Hmm.
start for us, and we don't take a dip in form. We don't, we can get what we want to get done, and whoever's the hottest one plays, right? And it just means the next guy who comes in will show up, and as they say, show up and show out, basically. And it's my spot. No, it's my spot. No, it's
Right.
my spot. Because and it also allows him to switch things around, right, in terms of what kind of formation he wants to go to. Now that he has a lot more players with a lot
Would
more
he
skill set.
be? Would he be like a replacement for Erdegaard if Erdegaard gets injured or needs
Definitely,
to
definitely.
rest some games? We've got Europa League, we've got Cup games, and we've got Premier League, and we're going to go
Yeah,
through the Premier League fixtures as well. This is going to be Premier League fixtures was going to be the main part of the show, and it probably still will be. But we had to open with Fabio Vieira here,
yeah,
and we got a lot of games for all of the players. So I
yeah,
maybe see Vieira as a um, an option when Erdegaard's not available, when
yeah.
Erdegaard's being rested.
And you know what? The fact that he might be hungry means Erdogan has to bring it, right?
Hmm.
He's going to have to show it in practice, and you just play the better player, right? I mean,
Yeah,
everybody thought Jota was going to, Jota got kind of pushed back a little bit when Diaz came in, right? So,
yeah. I wonder
you
how
know,
he's feeling. And
you
he'll
know,
probably think he's at the best place at Liverpool, even
yeah,
if he's coming
he,
off of
he,
the
he
bench.
plays enough, and I think he
He's
gets
going to
enough
get
minutes
games.
because they do rotate them around, right? So sometimes Jota starts, sometimes Luis Diaz starts. So that's what we want to be at our squad, right? So if that one day Erdogan is having he's struggling, gets to sit out, and we bring in, you bring in Fabio, and you don't lose, we don't lose anything. You might
Yeah.
gain something different and lose a little bit, but you don't. It doesn't drop like the entire form, the performance at that position doesn't just
Mm.
drop out the sky kind of thing. So yeah,
Saul did horribly at Chelsea, but BX would take him on loan. Arteta would probably get something out of him. I saw something as well. Maybe it's a quote from Arteta a couple of years ago. Arsenal used to have all of these smaller, more technical midfielders that could move the ball fast. Ramsey, Riziki, all of these players, Santi, and now every club needs to cycle through these kind of players, and so maybe Arteta's trying to fill the team a little bit with more technical ability as well in midfield, especially.
he needs a lot of players. Every position except for probably now goalkeeper needs could deal with it an upgrade,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yeah, every position right now. I mean, there's not. I don't think there's a bench or backup or squad player position that's nailed down right now. Maybe maybe Milsroof Rowe has a spot. One of the first to come off the bench. But who else? Who else? When you look at right now, think about our bench. Who else would
especially
you
at the
go
end of
besides Turner and a Milsroof Rowe?
at
Who
the end of
else is
last
like
season.
who else is the first? Who else is the
Yeah.
first coming off the bench?
Well, Pepe, if he's still
No,
there.
no, no, he isn't because he didn't come off last year. So
Yeah.
he's not somebody I would say like this is for me. I don't. I always say okay, maybe next year he'll get it. He'll look different. He did no, no.
Mhm.
I don't think you use the off. Not too many players can take the off season and go from make a significant jump, right? Because if you think about it, Emil Smith-Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli, they all improved, but they were trending that way as the season ended, right?
Yeah.
We knew there were different things they all needed to work on. In most cases, it was their finishing. Milsroof Rowe showed that he's improved. Saka to start, not so much. He got a little bit better. He played a lot more, so his opportunities are big there. Martinelli, little things that he needs to work on in terms of team play. I know me and you go back and forth on it, but yeah, I know. I guess I'm rambling on there but what I'm saying, I think we bringing in Fabio just gets another I don't know, call it key on the piano to make some beautiful music, right?
Mhm.
Another one that we didn't have before. We had like 12 keys. We need to have 25. Well, you need to have 20 plus because I don't. Yeah, we need to have like 20 plus sets of
Constructing
players that we can
constructing a
rely on.
squad now. Constructing a squad now. Erdegaard. We'd be afraid this season if Erdegaard got injured while all these games. Now with if Erdegaard's not having a good game, this kid, 22 years old, can be on the bench maybe, and he's another problem for a team that maybe gets tired. Using that five substitute rule. Another team gets tired. A two-footed player, reminds me a little bit of Santi Zorlan. I got to stop saying that because people will compare him to the real Vieira. People will compare him to Santi Cazorla, and of course
Well, yeah,
he's gonna be Fabio. It'll be interesting what he puts on the shirt as well. Will he go with Fabio? You know what I mean? These are small things, right?
yeah, yeah. Those small things that I
Small details.
yeah. I mean, it's either unfortunate or it doesn't really matter the last name on the shirt. I mean, he's not he's not Vieira. He's not this big bulky guy that's gonna command the middle and bring just control it like that. He's not like that based on the way he's been playing. He could bulk up to that, right? But it's just so yeah, it's Fabio Vieira, however whatever you want to call him. So yeah, it'll be yeah, he is definitely lanky and a little bit.
Language
But I
style,
mean, you know
like
what?
yeah,
It's also a lot about what's in here. We'll find out because you could be lanky and still be a tough player. All right. I mean, I
yeah,
kind of feel like, um, you know,
Kanu.
yeah. I
You
mean, a
were
lot of
well.
these players, it's all mental, right? And the trick is if you're smaller, then you're faster. So they have to catch you to knock you down.
Lower center of gravity. Yeah.
Well, no,
Um,
just you're faster, right? And you can slip around like they put a tackle in. You saw that with Henri, right? They put tackles into him. He's just so quick and nimble on his toes that he just slips out of those tackles when they can't, makes him look silly. So, um,
we saw a few clips of him against Liverpool in the Champions League
yep.
game. So he's played
You
some
see him
Champions
get
League.
taken out, right? You saw him get taken out on the side, on the sideline there, not the
Yeah,
sideline, but on the touch line there, or whatever.
touchline.
So,
Yeah, and
so yeah, yeah,
Robertson jumping in. So these are
yeah.
things. Okay, he came on fresh in the game, but these are things you're looking
That's
for.
what you're supposed to do. It's not your fault whether and when you come off and on the pitch, right? You got to come out and play. I mean,
Yeah.
they bring in their new guys. They don't tell them, you know what, take it easy on them because they've been playing for like 60, 70 minutes. Nah, yeah,
All right,
nah.
so this is all good. The club moving fast. Edu, whoever it is, Edu's probably did the work here. We got to give him credit where credit's due, right? We're all worried about Edu rolling out the barbecue,
Yes,
um,
yes.
but he's got the job done. Really quickly done. Things happen fast. We did not execute the release clause. There was a 50 million euro release clause. We got him for 40, negotiated down. 22 years old, and he's coming in. You said he's already in London, right? So the medicals
I
have
believe so
well,
because I think he supposedly has a physical in the morning and all that kind of stuff. So my understanding is he already. I mean, he's definitely on his way. It's my if I recall from what I read,
yeah.
but definitely
Oh,
medical tomorrow, and then it's done, right? So.
big questions, Gary, coming up now.
Mm-mm.
This seems like a move of a big club, right? So, we moving like a big club again? Are we holding reserve? We're holding reserve until Tielemans and Gabriel Jesus are
Yeah,
finalized.
no,
But it
we
feels
can't.
good, right?
This is a good step, right? This isn't
Mhm.
this. We've got multiple moves that need to be made in the window. So this is just one of them. This one potentially could be a starter, but more than likely to start anyways. There'll be a solid, a solid backup. You know, a solid squad player, whatever you want to call it. Um, a
It's
solid
Tony
squad
at
player.
bingo. It's
Yeah,
Tony at bingo. Tony T Rex, where are you? He told me he would be missing half of the show, and
yeah.
he told me
Tony's got a busy life, man. He's got like things to do, people to see, and all that kind of stuff. He's
he
so.
said he would miss half the show. I said he would miss half the fun. This is the fun stuff. Talking about a signing that just happened today and madness. Um, the club may be moving like a big club remains to be seen, right?
Yeah.
And of course we have Marquinhos.
This is these are the types of moves I if we're not getting our number one players, we still
Things
have
to
all
do.
the other holes to fill. And this is
Yeah,
one of those other holes and perfect. If this is one of their main ones, even better. Because so far I they've made what I thought were good moves, and some of them have of the six that they did the last time, four of them I think were perfect. Two of them I think either they stretched it a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Two projects, four
Yeah.
perfect, two projects, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think
And
this
maybe those
this
projects will
definitely
make a big step forward this coming season as well.
yes, yes. I mean, I
Of
kind
course,
of feel like
Bambi
he's
and
got yeah, I kind
Nuno.
of feel like he's got more experience. I mean, well, okay, that's one thing. Sorry, I'll step back a little bit. I did look. He is or was the captain of the U21s. Once again, another thing that we're seeing now with Arsenal
Leadership.
when they bring in these players, they're not just bringing in players that or as they say, followers, right? They're bringing in some leaders, so they've got some of that mindset in them that they're going to help out and help the team
Yeah.
along. So
If you can't have one distinct leader that's going to lead 11, 10 other players, right? Then you need to maybe, dare I say, go back to the invincible days where Patrick Vieira himself would say he what his captaincy was very easy because he had 10 other captains on the field as well. And we need to get to that point as well.
yeah,
We can look around the team and we got a lot of young, aspiring captains that maybe need to get that um, experience, experience
no,
of playing in the
definitely,
Premier
definitely.
League.
So yes, I thought that was really interesting to
Mhm.
see that he has a C next to his name on the international squad.
Yeah,
So that can't be bad, right? It
not at
can't be
all.
bad at all. I mean, I think Erdogan. I don't know if he was captain for the U21s, but definitely is kind of you want to see that kind of that that trait, that characteristic of the players coming in because we
Yeah,
keep saying we don't have leadership, and we keep getting players with that leadership, and we just need to see them put it on the pitch too. So
yeah.
there you go.
Then we need players with more getting players, but they have to gain experience in the Premier League.
Yep.
They have to gain experience of the dark arts of the game and
Mm.
knowing in those fine moments within the game when to practice those dark arts and not to the detriment of the team. We've seen a couple of things happen to the
Yeah.
detriment of the team. Of course, the fine margin mistakes, and of course dealing with the referees and the officials. That is an art in itself as well. To
Hmm.
believe it or not, you have to ingratiate yourself with these officials, and not be seen as the problem child that needs to get a yellow card every time he does something that other players do on other teams, but don't seem to get those yellow cards.
Yeah.
I think we all know
You
who
know,
I'm
the thing
talking
is, it's for me, it's what's in and out of character, right? And when Arsenal plays a certain style for like the start, for like the first 10 games of the season, and then the 11th game they switch that up, it looks different, so it looks wrong. Whereas you come out and you play a certain style from day one, they know what they're going to see in the players when they come out and play. It may be tough, a bit tougher and a little bit harsh and stuff like that, but you're used to it because that's all you see. So I kind of feel like it's like everybody's speeding, and you decide to go just step here faster. You look like you're
you're the
basically
one.
endangering that's why you get pulled over. It's not because you're speeding because everybody else is speeding. It's that you're endangering yourself, right? So
Card.
for us, when we're not staying in our lane, it looks out of character. So they think it's something worse than it is. Because you see later on in the game, the same thing happen and nothing gets called because they've been doing it all game. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if that's not our style, then we shouldn't play it. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that. I'm okay if we don't.
Wild
We're
shout
not.
is Crosswell from West Ham. That's the wild shout.
Mm,
Crosswell from West Ham remains to
mm,
be seen. Yeah, there's some people saying we need a little bit more steel in our midfield.
mm.
We only really have Partey and Granit Xhaka who tries to do that. Doesn't do it very well. Um, so the other part of this signing Vieira coming in, 32 million English pounds, 40 million euros. Does this also give you a clue that maybe the club is going to invest as heavily as last season, Gary?
I think so. It has to, right? I mean, just the names and the costs for the players that we still have outstanding, right? I mean, if Gabriel and Tielemans are there, then we're getting close to already at 100, probably. When those two players come in, and that doesn't help us. Still,
Yeah.
we still need some more players. So yeah,
So
I
I'm
mean,
going
I
to
think we're
go.
gonna. I'd be surprised based on what we just did that we don't get close to that 150 mark again, if not
Yeah,
over it. I
I'm
kind of feel like, yeah,
just writing down 32 and 42 because Gabriel Jesus will be about 42 English pounds, English
hmm
million English pounds, 74 million in those two players, and it'll take 26 at least for Tielemans,
yeah,
which will bring it up to 100. So
yeah,
throw in a couple of extra players for depth and bring in some loan players, and we're gonna have to formulate a squad somehow out of that.
yeah,
And of course, we'll have plenty of time through the season to look at that and to judge how the Cronkies have addressed this. It does seem that Arteta, for right or wrong, does have the ear of the owners.
yeah. I mean, as I said in the last show, I mean, based on our books, we had about 20 million pounds in it. As far as cash available to us, and we just spent. I don't know if we spent 32 straight out, but we did spend a lot, and we still have more to come. So, I think, yeah, he's got the support of the leadership. So that's what you want.
Yeah.
if he and I always said he needs help, monetary, management,
Um,
recruiting, all of that stuff. So
just adding up all of this, okay, 32. We've got to like 100 million without even talking about Rafinha. I think Rafinha may just escape us. We don't know. I'm just gonna say it's possible he may escape us this season. You know, um,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
that's
I think it's at the least what it's doing is it's keeping your options open if things do fall through, right? So
yeah.
I guess the Rafina, Gabriel, Jesus, kind of approach. If you got two of them at least that you're talking to, if one falls through, you can still hopefully jump and get the other one. So yeah, especially if it's all about the money, right? Because they're going to cost about the same, if not, they're going to cost around the same. Probably the most
Well,
most money we're going to spend is those two players.
while
If we were to,
while we're waiting for Tony to get a full house at bingo, or what's that? Is that a full house? Whatever you call it.
I don't know what they call it.
Just
Yeah,
shout bingo, right?
but as long as he's
Tony.
yeah. Wait for him to say. But yeah,
What do you want? What do you want to talk about next? Before we get into the fixtures, I mean, we'll have a few
wow.
minutes. You want to talk about Tielemans? You want to talk about that team grabbing the other player down the road that Bissouma, and Arsenal not entering into a race that was. It's a very very muddy situation with Bissouma with the
Yeah, no,
rules.
I think yeah, we can guess. I guess we can talk since you can bring up Basuma, right? So, um, like you said, he is definitely a player that fills our fills a hole that we don't have. Makes it easier for us to play a certain way if we would have
Well,
him
the
on our squad. The
question is
problem
a
I find
moral
is that we
question,
just
right?
don't have, we just don't have who out there gives you the same feel in terms of bringing him to the squad in terms of filling a hole like Basuma. We talk about Basuma all the time. Is there anybody else out there that gives you that?
I can't. Maybe a Conte,
That's what I
something
mean.
like that.
It's not doesn't come off your tongue easy because
No.
there isn't
The
anything
question,
that
the
you look at
question
and go,
though
you know what?
is
I can see something exactly
more of
another
a
player.
moral, but it's more of a moral question, right? And
Well,
we
it's
don't
not. Well,
spend
yeah.
long on this.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is the reason why he comes up all the time is because there's never another answer,
Correct. Yeah.
right? No matter how much dirt is on him, how much it's he's got all these not the skeletons, but he's got skeletons out the closet, right? There isn't. I haven't heard of a name consistently that comes up when we talk about Basuma, so that's why I think
Mhm.
he's always. I mean, we've heard him being interested to buy many teams, not just Arsenal and the latest that team. Other teams have I've heard Liverpool fans talk about if they want they would like to fix the middle, right? We always talk about where's the game won and lost. Why does City never have too many problems because they have a really good midfield, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about
So
just
Liverpool's got Fabinho,
yeah,
City's got
but they're still
Rodri.
looking and like he brings you something younger, right? So I think that's the thing. So the moral part of it, I think that's an easy thing for me. It's like that's not the we don't want to bring that type of player in if that's what they've been doing. But there's also the case of we don't know. So until we know, we're not going to do anything. So it's easy,
Hmm.
you know.
So in a way, it hurts, right? It hurts because it's a rival. A rival has
Yeah,
taken a decent player, but you have to look at maybe the moral aspect of it. I know there's not a lot of morals
it's
in
not.
football,
It's
right?
an for me. There is the more aspect is if he's guilty, but we don't know that. So
Yeah.
the problem for me is since it's an unknown, we can't make a decision on an unknown,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if somebody breaks their leg until it's healed, you never know. So do you take the risk that they're going to heal up correctly? That's what that team's doing, right? They don't know if he's going to come out of this thing mentally, physically ready to go. He might be
Um,
physically,
um,
but mentally, he might put a little stress on his body,
and
mentally. So
let's say Gary, that kind of player, that profile of player is something we could use in our squad. But
yep.
we all know in our midfield that Tielemans is a better fit for what we need, right? In the squad.
Like I said, I think Basuma pushes Partey up the field, and then maybe you don't need a Tielemans if Erdegaard is there,
Hmm.
right? Because I
Yeah, I just
feel like So I hear what you're saying, but it's just another cog on the wheel that helps us get around, get to where we want to go. So I don't see it as if we don't have him, we couldn't use him. I think he could start and move things around and make us a midfield stronger. That's all. Whether or not he started or not, that's to be debated. But
I
it's a
think we
good.
found something last season with Partey. As long as he can stay fit, that he can
Well,
anchor
that's the
that
thing. He
midfield.
can't. He can't, and we don't know that yet, right? And maybe the reason why he doesn't stay fit is because they're asking him to do too much,
Yeah.
right? Why does he have to be the link between the front line and the back line to some degree, right? Why can't you offload some of those
Well,
responsibilities to somebody else and let him kind of control the middle in the sense of getting a ball to either Erdegaard or in it could be Erdegaard, it could be Vieira, right? It could be Emilsworth Rowe, because he's
yeah,
so I kind of feel like it's a good problem to have because it does switch things up for you. So I know it's not, I didn't think of Partey as a CDM. I always heard box to box, not CDM. So I believe they're different,
yeah. But
right?
he has, yeah, they are different, but he has been playing, and we don't need to get bogged down in this
No, no,
conversation.
no, 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 no. But the reason why you say we don't need a Basuma is because Partey is playing that role, right, of sitting in front of the back line.
What I'm saying is we need a left eight more than we need a, let's say, defensive midfielder, which what Basuma and his profile is a defensive midfielder. Tillemans can do a lot more going forward than Basuma can.
We have a lot of players that can do a lot more going forward. We don't have a lot of players that can play defense. We
All
say
right.
this all the time, and it
What
just we belittle the defense so much that now we always think about, all right, he can bomb forward. That's a plus. Well, and then we watch when we
let
get beat
me
up defensively, right?
so let me say one thing. Basuma would have been a cover or replacement for Partey as per our midfield last season. And Tielemans would be a replacement for where Granit Xhaka played toward the end of last season, right? So it is essentially two different positions in midfield. Although yes, you can move them around, and
Well,
we could use both profiles in midfield.
yeah, no, but if box to box and CDM are different, I think Partey is better at a box to box than a
Yeah,
CDM, though, right? See, I mean, Basuma is a CDM. We don't say he's a box to
correct.
box. We don't say he's an
And
eight. We don't,
that's the
So,
unique skill set of
so
Partey that we've just I
yeah,
think we just figured out how to use him
it's
in this past season.
versatile, but we don't know if that's what puts too much. Like I don't
Mhm.
recall. I never saw him play for Real, for
Atletico.
Atletico, right? So I
Yeah.
don't know how he was playing there, but he didn't miss many games. So you spend a lot of money on a player, you bring them in, and you ask them to bring you the world, to give you the world. Sometimes the world is really heavy, puts a lot of stress on the body. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe he can't. Maybe he can't do everything. He can, but maybe his body can't. And if you have better players around him, maybe he doesn't have to do everything. That's what we keep saying as well, right? Bring
Yeah.
in a different,
Yeah.
bring in more players, and then you offset some of those responsibilities to everyone, right? Like if we have a healthy tyranny on both sides of the pitch, we're laughing, right? Because we know he can defend to some degree, and we know going forward he's really plus. Right now, we've got Tomiyasu, who's really good defensively. Going forward, not so much. Tierney, really good going forward. Defensively, not as good as for me, Tomiyasu. So now you've offset your balance, right? And we always say, why do we keep going down the left? Maybe if you have the ability to go down your right the same way, other teams will have to respect that, and that's what you want. You want you you want them to dictate to you what you do, and you don't lose anything, right? All right, we're gonna push them to the right side. It doesn't matter. We got you beat there too. You know what I mean? So
All
I
right.
know we kind of
So,
we may have, I don't know if we've gone out we went off. I think we talked about Basuma, and that's kind of where. So yeah,
yeah.
like I said, it was an easy decision for Arsenal. We're not going to do anything until we know,
Um,
and we
a,
don't know.
a so listen, not too long, maybe a minute. A quick word on the Tottenham or that team's recruitment because they're going to be one of our rivals. Let's be blunt about this. They're going to be our rival for top four again this coming season. They got Basuma in. Does he really improve their midfield a lot more? They had Hoiberg did a good job there, and they conceded 40 goals last season. It's not a huge amount of goals conceded, but they can also improve on it with a Basima. They've got Jed Spence in, a right back from Middlesbrough who played with Nottingham Forest. They've got Perisic, and I think that's about it so far, right? And maybe Rafinha. I don't think that all of those players improved them hugely. They're just added to their depth, in my opinion.
But that's improving the squad.
Yeah,
So the team is better. And once again, you don't have to play them all the time. You don't have to play like if they had a replacement for Kane and Kane was not having a good spell of games, you could let him sit for a little bit and bring him back in and not lose anything, right? I mean, City did not have to play Kevin De Bruyne all 38 games, right? And I don't think they did. I mean, he was injured for some, and they didn't lose much. I mean, they didn't lose a big. They may have lost games, but they didn't lose their quality, right? So I think it's better to have more on the bench than not.
yeah.
So yeah,
But you can't put all of that talent on the field. If you've got Kane out there, you can't really put Richarlison on there until one
yeah.
tires.
Well,
Because
if you've got Luis Diaz out there, you can't bring Jota in, you can't bring
yeah,
Firmino in.
yeah,
So it's a good problem to have, and we
it's a
want to.
good problem
We
to
keep
have.
talking about being like a
Okay,
Liverpool.
coming
Liverpool has that issue, and there doesn't seem to be a problem because everybody gets to play.
coming back to Arsenal, our number one priorities, everyone knows, is Tielemans and Jesus. We're going to get to
Yep.
Jesus
Yep.
in a minute. I think we feel Jesus is today has come a lot further now than Tielemans, but we still believe Tielemans is available, and there's no other clubs really after him. So, and of course, Arsenal have been talking to Leicester for the best part of a year, and Tielemans' representatives were at Arsenal during the January window to have further talks. So, this is a player that I believe is a really does jigsaw just fits right in our midfield where Granit Xhaka has been deputizing toward the end of last season.
No, definitely, definitely. It'd be nice to.
He's going to
No,
add some goals to our team as well, Gary. I would say we get 5 or 6 goals from Tielemans playing
yeah,
there in that position.
yeah, no, and that's more than we're getting from some of our other players that play in the midfield, right? So, uh, and they're going to have, I would like to think they're going to have better players around them. So maybe they score the same amount, if not more. So yeah, no, I think like, yes, we want him. And like I said, does that fix our starting lineup? It might just
Mhm.
create more of a log jam, but I'll take it. That means we just got enough players that can start for us, right? So there you go.
I think these two players are the positions that we've been crying out for last season. It's blatantly obvious we need a striker, maybe more. Some would argue more than the two. If it's Nketiah and Jesus,
Yeah,
we might need something else.
yeah,
Whether it comes from the wings or if it comes from the striking position itself, and we need that left-sided mid-eight in Tielemans. So a year left in his contract. I'm actually surprised Leicester seem to be I haven't heard anything about Leicester hardballing us yet. You know what I mean? 25
right.
million seems to be the going rate, 25, 30 for Tillmans. 1 year left in his contract, Gary.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's 1 year left, and he doesn't want to be there, right? So at some point, this is where Arsenal needs to find this information out about their players. They don't want to go into this situation where they've got a year left, and
Mhm.
now that player dictates to you, and maybe they lowers the market price and lowers the value because they know that you can't keep them. So, you know, this is the situation we don't want to be in with some of our players. So we on top of just bringing in these new players, we've got players that will get into that 1 year mark. We need to sign them up as well. So yeah,
Um,
no,
if he
I
was on, if he was on a longer contract, we're looking at 40, maybe 45 for
yeah,
Tillmans, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mr. Thomas killing it
Oh, I
for the
was going to
next.
say something about Jesus there, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
We're going to stay on
Mr.
this.
Tom,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're talking about Jesus, right? So
Mhm.
we just spent the last 2 or 3 seasons, right, with three strikers,
Did we?
right? We've had three. Well, we've had three players considered nines on the squad. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Do I believe we still need to have three players that we consider nines?
I get you.
like close to full time. Not well, Martinelli can play on the wing, but then we'll bring him in for the 9 for emergency situations. I don't think that works unless he's gonna play the 9 because he didn't. Of all the talk that we can bring him into the middle, he didn't really play there when we could have used. When we needed somebody to do that, they go out of their way to put somebody else in there. So either he is or he isn't. But I kind of felt like if you just like you said, we just had 2 strikers over 100 mil, and we're just gonna replace them with just one, right? How does that work? The math doesn't equal out. You need to not that you need to spend another 50 to get a striker in, but you need to get another player in to fill that hole that you can lean on, right? And when if Gabriel isn't having a good day or he needs to move outside for a bit, you can bring somebody else in and play that positions. Because I don't know about you, but I'm like, all right, say Eddie. I think he's going to sign. I think that's what's
Yeah,
going to happen there.
yeah.
So, are we going to get
It's gonna
the
get the
Eddie? Are we
14.
going to get the Eddie from the end of the season, like the end of the season for Pepe, or are we going to get the Eddie at the beginning of the season and the Pepe that we saw this past season,
There's
right?
one key difference in that. Whatever what you're asking, there's one key factor. You know what the factor is?
Mm.
Mikel Arteta believes in one, and he doesn't believe in the other.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to do well. That's the thing.
It means he's going to get the game
Yeah,
time.
he's going to like we see other players get like we saw Aubameyang get pushed out there over and over and over again, and he just wasn't doing it. Doesn't mean it's
On
sometimes
the
you
left.
you need
Yeah,
to be he. I keep saying this. He needs to be able to look over at his like he's sitting there at the bench. He needs to be able to look down the bench and go,
yep,
I can bring him on,
yep,
and I won't. I don't.
yep.
He doesn't even look now. There's
No.
nobody there.
Yeah.
You know what I
We,
mean?
we we all saw the squad at the end of last season. There's 3 or 4 academy players that were
Yeah,
sitting there, and they weren't coming on unless we're
yeah,
winning 4-0, and they're
yeah,
going to get a little bit of
yeah.
experience.
So
You know
that's
what I mean?
kind of what I feel like. Gabrielle gives me a different level of confidence than Nketiah does, even based on the way he ended the season.
Gabriel Martinelli.
No, Gabrielle Jesus
Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah.
Nketiah, they're at different confidence levels for me. He might have confidence in
Now
Nketiah,
the thing
but
is,
not in the talent that he's going to get on the pitch.
the thing is though, is that Eddie said in a podcast toward the end of the season, if you give me minutes, I will get goals. And I would argue 5 goals within 8 games, albeit in 2 braces. You got two goals in a couple of games, and he got one at the last day of the season.
Mm,
Yeah, he got 5 goals in 8 games, and I think if you give him, he's going to get the opportunity this season. He's going to get
yeah,
the minutes. He's going to get the games, and
yeah,
it's on him. He's got the contract now. He's young enough. He's not coming to the end of his career. Aubameyang, I think we can safely say, down tools. Didn't his relationship with Arteta soured for whatever reason?
yeah.
Something's got to change as well. Arteta's got to bring in so-called experienced players in their mid-20s and be able to coexist with them
Hmm.
and everything to be harmonious. But yeah, I believe Nketiah will get goals. I believe Gabriel Jesus will get goals. Now, question is, do we have enough money in the bottom of the sofa to go out and get another striker, like Plan B, or even you're talking about any kind of a striker, Gary, right?
We need to get a striker in.
A body, a warm
I
body.
don't think I don't. No, I don't know. I don't want to know warm body. We need a player that's going to play and either push Eddie Nketiah to the bench or they have Nketiah does show that he does deserve to be out there, right? So that's where we need to be, right? I was kind of looking while you were talking there about Nketiah getting the minutes and whatnot,
Mhm.
and as you said, he didn't. When he gets 90 minutes, he usually scores. Actually, if he gets 80
And
minutes, he usually
for
scores.
me,
But he had he
saw
yeah,
I saw a different Eddie
yeah,
toward the end of the season. Okay, it's a small sample, right? Toward the
yeah,
end of the season that I've seen in previous seasons,
yeah,
and I think he's maturing and he's growing. And I saw some video or some footage of him really working out, and he's trying to bulk up now
yeah,
for this coming season. He knows it's a big season coming ahead. Um, Steven said Partey isn't a CDM; he's a progressive midfielder, but Arteta's square peg and round hold him. That's why we needed to sign a central defensive
yeah,
midfielder like Basuma last
yeah.
summer. Arteta ignored the position, and we paid.
Yeah, so here we go. So is this a blip or not? The last 10 games that he played, because the previous season he did get lots of minutes, over 50 minutes. He got that multiple times. Doesn't always result
Gibbs,
in goals.
yeah.
So him saying it is one thing, but the previous season, that this is coming up. He said that give me minutes and I'll score. He said that after a season where he got minutes and he didn't score.
I think what we're
Right?
seeing, Gary, is we have a number of players who are at that age of 22, right? So you're
Yeah.
progressing from under 23s, that
Yeah.
level of football, and
Yeah.
you're making a big step up to, you're
Yeah, but
playing
I
against grown
mean,
men. You're
yeah. The,
playing
the thing
against
is he
athletes.
doing that because of what he saw from Saka and Rowe and Martinelli, and we don't we like you said, like we said earlier, we need leaders. We need people who actually just like he is he getting prodded along because he's seeing what they're doing, which is good. That means they're inspiring him to do better. But we also need players in themselves to bring that out too, right? So no,
Big season for Eddie and Ketty
yeah,
next season.
yeah, yeah,
Listen, you're not going to like what I have to say, but I feel this is the way the club's going to go. It's going to be Gabriel Jesus and it's going to be Eddie as our strikers this season, and they're going to share that position. Like I said, didn't think you'd like what I have to say, but I feel that's the way the club's going to go for this summer.
yeah. I mean, it just is hope. If Eddie talks a big game, he needs to just show it,
Back it up.
because I think when he was brought in, it was, well, we have nothing else, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't have been that. It should have been he was always playing because he always brought something to the table. He always brought something to the game when he came in, even if it was for 10, 20 minutes, right? We know that our players can do it because we've seen Millsworth Road do that and come in the last 20,
And
10, 20 minutes of the game and actually show something, right? And
this,
score.
yeah. And this season, Lacazette's legs just ground to a
Mm,
halt this
yeah.
season. So much so he couldn't get at the on the end of things, and he was making assists either side of New Year's, but that wasn't helping him get goals.
Yep. Yeah.
What's the right thing to do by Balogun, Gary? BX said, I wonder if Balogun's going to go out on loan. Do we want to be selfish and use him in the team, at least till maybe Christmas time, and then he can go
I
on
mean,
loan?
I mean, we've got we've got players with 20 goal contributions, and we're concerned about bringing them in. He doesn't even have probably 5. So for me, it should be an easy answer to that question. He's just not ready yet. He needs more game time, right? He needs more games. So if he's not going to get those games with Arsenal, which more than likely he isn't, because we need to have players that can come in and do a job. So you know, I kind of feel like he needs more time. I mean, that's why that whole the way that he was managed and the way that that whole thing went in terms of his Arsenal, the way we're dealing with him. He had lost probably a year of
Yeah,
his career where he should have been. You know, I think Arsenal dropped the ball. It's a little bit similar to the whole Saliba thing. They kind of missed out on a year of football
well,
with the way that they handle it, and
do
he
do we
needed to.
see
He
like
needed to.
do we see an evolution of the way Arsenal have like tried to clear the decks, do things right, put the culture into the club, and start restructuring all of the players' contracts? Do we see like an evolution there that
I
Arsenal's
don't
getting
know
better?
because I don't. We haven't those types of situations haven't come up yet because we've got new sets of players every year, right? And they're in different parts of their career. Like
We convinced
is well, if Tavage
Paladin.
goes out on loan, then we know the team has changed in the way that they handle their players.
I would disagree with you on that one.
If
I
they feel like
think
he's
it's
not
a
going to
step
give them
forward.
what they want, like I told you, I don't believe he's going to go from May in June not being able to defend and go through a summer and then come out and be ready to defend in the Premier League.
I think he's
Just
going
don't.
to
I just
learn.
don't.
I think he's going to
Yeah, I don't want
progressively
him to
get
learn
better.
on the field because that's when we lose points.
Well, there's been some rumor about Hickey coming, and maybe that will mean Nuno goes out on loan. There's been some
Yeah.
Italian clubs, I think, looking for Nuno's services, he,
Yeah.
albeit even on a loan situation. But we'll see what happens there. Um, let's get to Gabriel Jesus before we get into the fixtures, and we'll have a little chat about the fixtures. Tony's still trying to get full house bingo. He's waiting for his number.
He's got an Ingo. He's looking for that B.
He's waiting for his number to be called. Gabriel
Yeah,
Jesus, news broke. Manchester City have agreed a fee. Pretty much 40. I think 42 million is the reported numbers on that one. So this is something the player wanted. Uh, Manchester City probably wanted to keep him for depth, keep him on the bench, but the player looked at how could you not look at the situation, Gary? Haaland's coming in. I probably won't get much time in Manchester City, and I have a really good position at another team. And for me, I think it's Arsenal's a team that's going to get better, should get better, with the recruitment we're going to do, and Gabriel Jesus is going to come and score some goals for us. This is the fairy tale scenario, right? It's got to go this way, right? How could
yeah.
it go
Well, I mean,
wrong?
I mean, the writing's on the wall to some degree, right? I mean, you bring in the best prospect for at your position. It's gonna Your minutes are gonna go down even more to some degree, right? Because now there's
Yeah.
somebody who's gonna. So is the thing is, will he stay healthy? We'll see. He's always seems to be the last 2 seasons he's been injured, right? So
Who? Holland
uh,
or
yeah,
Jesus?
Holland has been
Holland.
injured. So and I think the way that City works, he would probably get rotated in and out, but that's just another player now that pushes everybody down a peg, right? So
Yeah.
there'll be less minutes to allocate. So yeah, and he does come in some of the big games, but yeah, no, I kind of feel like he wants to be a starter, and he should be. He should, it sounds like they're gonna allow him to do that because they can't offer it to him, right? There's no position that they can say, all right,
Um,
this is yours.
Situation where a World Cup year World Cup should be in the summertime, but it's going to be in the middle of a season. It's going to present its own difficulties as
Yeah, I
well.
mean that would be the same thing if the World Cup was, you know, that might have pushed things further ahead if this World Cup,
In January.
was this summer, right?
Mhm.
In terms of
Yeah.
players looking at that, going, I need more time
Yeah. Tony,
on the
we got to
pitch.
call out Tony a little bit. Tony was very, very sure because the World Cup was in November, December, things would happen in January. I don't think a lot happened in January. We said it would wait till the summer, and now players are looking to their national teams and trying to secure, a starting place in the World Cup. So, for me, that's a great motivation for Jesus to want to come to Arsenal now. Keep playing, get into the national team, and be a main part of Brazil's challenge for the World Cup.
No, I kind of feel like the players that need to play that need to make a move so that they can get into the World Cup are those that have been on this in the squad. They just don't have a secure spot, or they want to be a starter. One of the two.
Yeah,
All right. I
I'm
mean,
not sure.
like a Saliba just got into the French squad. Does he have it solidified? Probably not. Right. Guendouzi also is in the squad. I think he's a little bit further ahead, right? But is it guaranteed? Probably not
And
as much as he would like. But I think a lot of these players,
going to be very
That on the
important.
cusp, they're going to want to make moves that allow them to showcase their skills a lot more.
And I think it's going to be very important for Saliba, especially to have that confidence shown in him by Arteta when he comes in. He's going to get
Yeah.
games, maybe in the Europa League, maybe some Premier League games. But
Yeah.
I hope that Arteta has learned. I want Arteta to learn. He's still learning. He's got a couple of seasons under his belt now. It should really be starting to come for him as well. The assembled said, "Great to see you here." He assembled. The players' future is dependent on the manager's confidence in him. The manager has played in Kedia into the team and played out players out of the team. Very true. It's one of the things I do not like about Arteta. He hasn't been able to use the existing players within that he inherited to the best advantage. And I hope he's going to learn from these situations.
Well, it can't always be.
I didn't like it.
It can't always be that. I have to have my perfect.
My guy, I
I
have to
got
have
my
my
cookie
guys.
mold, and it's
Yeah.
gotta work. You gotta fit into it, and if you don't, then it doesn't work. And that doesn't, because that would be the same as you get a player, they have a skill set, they get injured. Now they can't bring that same thing to them, and guess what? They don't fit the mold anymore. So what? You kick him out? No, you play them into. You always hear players move around on the pitch because you know what? He just can't play that position anymore, either because he got injured or because he got older. But they still have a skill that you can use on the pitch. You just have to maybe move them into a position where they don't have to. They can't. That they can still start for you, but they maybe not at that position, right? You see players that start to move to the back line when their skill sets erode sometimes because it's they don't have to do as much running and stuff like that. So yeah, I just feel like he needs to be able to work with what he's got. Ingredients aren't always going to work. The players aren't going to pan out, but you just can't drop the ball and say, you know what, I brought you in to do a certain job and you didn't. You can't do it, but you
And
still have skills, but I'm not going to play you because you don't have the skills I thought I told you needed to have to play for me. It makes no sense, right?
and even though Gary, who went last season with a new direction and young players, this is Arteta's team. It's been 5 or 6 windows now. This is his team. There's no doubts about it. It is his team, and
Then
it
why
doesn't
does
work. It doesn't
why
work.
does Pepe sit when you're down a goal and you need a goal? Why does he sit?
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right?
doesn't make sense. No.
When you need the player to come in and give you goals, and you go and get a defensive player and bring him on, you're like, well, then what are we doing here? And that's like that. If it gets to that point, why are they on your squad? Why are they in your team if you can't
Yeah.
use them for where they're
Yeah.
actually better? Where they're best suited, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
For
know.
me,
Yeah,
I sort of said to you a couple of months ago, I think Pepe will still be here at the start of next season, but
that's
I
just
don't
silly.
know. It doesn't
It's
look
just
like good for him.
it's just silly. It's
He,
silly. It's
he's
silly.
got a
It's
new
silly.
agent. He's got a new agent. I think that
Yeah.
he's been probably allowed to look for a new job. You're at your present employer, but your employer said it's okay. You can use the company equipment. You can email and find yourself a new job somewhere.
Yeah.
Uh, Speaking about, I think Gabriel Jesus, I think it was BX Gunner says he needs to be starting and producing in a top league. Form is everything. Mr. Tom said Manchester City handing that money straight to Leeds for Calvin Phillips, and they're going to get Cucurella as well. That left back for Brighton, really dynamic player.
They have standards and leads. Does he, Mr.
Got-
Tom? You're you're in the Leeds
We have
camp to some
standards here in
degree,
the
and so
Leeds
I don't
camp.
know what these standards are that you talk of, Mr.
Um,
Tom.
Stephen would send Balogun to a club like Reading. He probably does need that. I'm just sort of conflicted on whether we should keep him till Christmas.
He's
And
not
then
gonna. Why are you gonna waste? This is the same thing we did with.
injuries.
He needed you.
It could happen.
Injuries could happen. If injuries happen, what are you going to have the same level of confidence? He's going to come in and do a job for you. You're not, because you're talking already about letting him go in January.
Okay. We'll stick a pin
If
in
you
this.
if your mindset says we'll let him go in January if we don't have any injuries, then he's not he shouldn't even be on. He should be
He's
out.
there to cover. If you send the player out on
No,
loan, you
cover
can't
for
get him
what?
back to January.
He's not covering because you're not playing him because he's not good enough.
If we have an injury, if Nketiah gets injured or Jesus gets injured, we're looking
Did you
at
not
that.
watch the last season? We had a lot of players that didn't play, and guess what happens when it got to January? They didn't play. Still,
All right.
he's not going to play players that That's where you look. I'm looking at what I see. He's not playing Pepe when he needs him. He's not going to play him then. Balogun does not have the skills yet that I believe that he needs to have. Because Nketiah barely has it, and Balogun isn't at that level.
I hope we're not in a situation where we need a warm body.
That's what windows are for. That's why you have a window to fill all the holes, so you don't have. So you don't, and I don't want warm bodies. I want players that's sitting on our bench that can come in and play. Warm bodies does not help. We had warm bodies the last time.
Gary, right? last season it got to, did we want a striker or did we want a right back? And the club went and got a right back. Now I'm not complaining. Tomiyasu, great player. He did really well for us for the 20-odd games that he played in the league. But we needed a striker, but we spent the money on a right back. And I think as much as we're going to get this summer, and it's looking good right now, we're going to get some decent targets. I feel like we're always going to need just that one more player. And we go into the season. Wish we would have had that option B striker, but we just didn't have enough money,
Yeah, but right now, at striker we have two players that so it'd be nice to have a third. But yeah, and I hear what you're saying. I feel like we need to have three, right? So at striker, anyways, and you need to have a rotation of players on the wings and in the middle and everywhere else on the pitch, right? So.
And you hated what I had to say last week. I feel like we're going to wait another season, get Champions League, and then go big for.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Striker
doesn't make any sense. Like look at what Liverpool. Look at what Chelsea did. They didn't make a lot of changes to win the Champions League, did they?
No.
Because they had a solid squad going in, so it can't be we're gonna wait and then bring in players. Like when we wait to bring in players for Champions League, what were we bringing in?
Well, the
players
one
to
thing
fill
is,
holes, or we bringing in starters?
Some of these strikers want to play. Some of those available strikers want to play Champions League. We weren't going to get Darwin Núñez because he wanted to play Champions League. So next season we get into the Champions League. Now we're a Champions League club.
I don't think those players are coming. I don't think the players that you're talking about are coming to Arsenal with Champions League this season. Upcoming season. If we had Champions League right now, we're not getting Núñez. We're not getting Haaland. We're not getting Lewandowski. We're not getting those players. So Champions League for me, we're not talking about those players, right? Those players that are close to that are north of 75 million. No, we're not getting those players. But we'll have less people on the fence about coming, right? Right, does this mean somebody else is joining us?
It can't be a Rick and Morty show.
Stop calling me Morty. Jeez.
We're gonna go with this one, the three segments here until maybe Alonso joins us. But yeah, we're coming right to the end of a section. We're gonna get into the fixtures, so you come at a good time. Did you win at bingo, Tony? That's what the viewers want to know.
Yeah. How much did you pay? Are you gonna be able to pay rent?
Wasn't playing bingo. Disc golf.
Oh, okay. You're dissing us for disc golf. I get it. Okay. New Sample said Balogun should have been learning from Aubameyang instead of this. He's sent out to get minutes instead. When he comes back, he's going to need Premiership, first team game knowledge, or just have played football, right? With grown men.
I don't think Balogun coming in and being a third the third striker for us helps him, right?
Got to start somewhere.
No, I didn't say you got to. It's not an option. I just don't think it's a good one. He's not going to play, so he'll never get better. Think about it. You're a U19, U21 player. You've been playing whatever, on average, 60 to 90 minutes every time you step on the field. And then all of a sudden, all right, now so that you can make this jump to the Premier League, I'm going to play you 10 to 15 minutes every time you have an opportunity to come in. That doesn't help you. Doesn't help you at all, especially if you're then trying to sell that player. They need to get more minutes out there, right? I mean, you look at a Conor Gallagher, right? The reason why we say his name is because he's getting minutes and is able to play, right?
Yeah.
That's what Arsenal needs. They need to be players. Like, you look at all these squads, and they have players that are playing for Premier League squad, championship teams. They're getting minutes, and their skills are being displayed for everybody to see, and it looks good. And you're like, well, I guess they're going back to Chelsea now, right? Well,
Yeah.
Chelsea's got two players, right, that are playing. They were playing in the Premier League, and they're good enough to be on everybody's radar.
Right.
That's what you want from your players. Not, well, you know what, you're going to get 10, 15 minutes, and now you're going to be ready to play the Premier League. It's not going to happen. You got different ends of the spectrum. You've got Saka, who just comes in and balls. Or you've got Milsroof Rowe, who had to go out and work, go out and play a little bit, come back and show it. He needs to go out he needs to go one more year, I think.
With Balogun, yeah. Listen, if you're enjoying the podcast so far, slap a like on the video. It really does help push it up into the suggested watching material. 8 likes so far. We can do better than that, right? Right, Tony?
Come on, people. Let's show us the love, as they say.
So listen, we got Fabio Vieira. I got to get used to saying that. Fabio Vieira. Man.
Just call him Fabio. Just take a big flowing air.
Yeah, no. We got him coming up. There's lots of segues here. So, the segue into the fixtures, Tony? Vieira. There's a certain manager at Crystal Palace.
Vieira at Selhurst Park.
Gary was talking about Conor Gallagher, who has been on loan at where, Gary?
Crystal Palace, right?
Yes, you got it. And Crystal Palace is our first fixture. You want to start off? I got to do something. I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, we'll start on this thing.
The conversation. It's another Friday night. Gary, we must be defending league champions or something like that, because doesn't the defending?
I was hoping they'd do away with the
get to go
Friday.
First.
Anyway. Well, Arsenal sells. So until we're predictable, and I mean predictable in the sense that they don't want to play us in the first game because we just destroy you wherever we play, they're gonna love the fact that there's an opportunity and a chance that we will lose, because they know what that does for business per se, right? So you put Arsenal up front by themselves on a Friday night. Anything can happen. We're not at that point where it's a guaranteed win for Arsenal, right? So right now
they like us because we got loud fans that are to go one way or other, over exaggerate a win, over exaggerate losing. Just never know what you're gonna get. And the media feeds off of it, so that's why we get to showcase on Friday, even though I hate the Friday game.
Yeah, well, at least I guess everybody gets to see us, and maybe they'll see something they don't like, So, and if we can stay healthy going into that game, and we'll have all of our players, and if all the players that have been injured at the end of the season are ready to go, we should be okay. All right, we're going to have a full preseason with hopefully all of our players. Whatever Arteta has been instilling in them, we'll show it on Palace, and we'll be able to redeem ourselves from the last time we played them. All right? Because that's just not the way things should work, or it's not the way we should play. So, so we need. Now, I'm kind of looking forward to the game. Like you said, it's the fact that it's a Friday means it's the ultimate setup, right? Let's say if we can set them up right. And if they lose, yay! If they win, right? They just
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't
It's
care if
early
we win.
August. Nobody cares.
They don't care if we win. They just care if there's a chance that we lose. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the media, right, Gary, Tony? They like to
Yeah, this sells,
chat
right?
about us.
Arsenal on the cusp of a loss is what they want to show. So I
Um,
think yeah, they like that.
Stephen said there's no guarantee we get Champions League next season. Hell, we might not even make the Europa League either.
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, some of us this season didn't think we would get top 6. So the fact that we were 5 is, it's the unknown. You would hope that we get
Yeah,
better.
but if we didn't get any better last season, we would have finished.
The only thing you can learn from Aubameyang is about what not to do. Right? He's the example of.
Well, I mean, he was a 20 goal a season scorer, so
He's always bad
there's
for the
something
team
there.
because
He has a skill. Whether or
Mhm.
not you tap it and make sure you get the best out of it, that's on you. What's this saying?
CWTT, exactly. He sacrificed nearly all of Arsenal's attackers to fit Nketiah into the team. He lacks a lot of basic fundamentals. This is about Arteta, no doubt. I've ever seen Nketiah win a ball in the air. 100 grand a week.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's
so
way too much.
yeah, I mean, once again they're unsellable, right? Because who's going to spend 100 mil on a striker like you said who's not good in the air?
I don't
On
like
a
how he's a
striker that you
guaranteed number
on a
2
striker that you don't play, right? So I
It's
mean,
scary that he's the number 2.
that's why I'm hoping the way he ended the season, he can build on that. I keep saying this. All right, 38 tests, right? Each time I want you to get a little bit better, just a little bit better. By the time you get to the 30th test,
Yeah.
you're really good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they finish off the, so.
If we have, BX Gunner said, if we have our squad in order, we'll go unbeaten in August, possibly September too in the league. And, we definitely have a good 10 games. It's not terrible. And,
Yeah, Mr. Tom showed us some analysis that was done based on where teams sit. I think where teams finished off the season, and we have the easiest schedule to start in the first 5 games. So once again, the pressure's not necessarily on, but the pressure's on that you know what, this is as easy as it gets. You should take advantage of it and get all the points you can. So yeah.
Steven said we should get 5 wins out of the first 6 with the loss to Palace. And, I think this is a perfect game because we should have the memory of that loss. The players should have the memory of that loss etched into their brains.
Yeah, that loss is why they didn't finish 4th, of the many losses that they had.
Any couple of points anywhere. The opening loss to Brentford, lots of places.
No, but the Crystal Palace loss was one of the losses at the end of the season. That of the 5 losses that we had,
definitely
the ones that you kind of like that stings a little bit more.
So that Palace game, Gary, will demand that our squad is ready. We need to learn these lessons. And look, it looks like the club is going out and getting primary business done this week. I said on Sunday I hoped Jesus would be done this Sunday. Last Sunday I said
I never said we're losing. I think that's a Ray thinking it's a really tough game.
What?
We got 1 point out of 6 of them from last year. Of course,
what are you talking about? What?
I don't know who's this. Who said we've lost the opener? Not me.
Steven. I didn't say that. I think we have to learn lessons. We have to go and show Palace what we're about on the opening day this season. Friday night away in a difficult fixture. You know what I mean? Mr. Tom, the fixture's been out about 18 hours. You've already decided you've lost the opener, and it's a conspiracy.
Who said? Who is
I didn't say that. Gary, you said that?
It wasn't me, so it's got to be you because I
was away. How could I say it?
The fan base is saying that.
I wasn't even here.
I'm just saying. I just think he's probably talking about you. There, I'm just going to go that. That's where
I wasn't here.
He knows you. He knows that's how
I
you
tell
think.
you a conspiracy. 4 years in a row, promoted team for Liverpool. Liverpool
Yeah.
get it again. Look, you get to play everyone twice. There's nothing unique about the fixtures. You get to play everyone twice. It just depends on when you hit them in form or not in form. And okay, Liverpool get an easy game, then they're going to get more difficult games later. That's kind of how it works. If you get easy games first, like we got to take advantage of them. I was referring to Gary saying the TV company wants to
So
lose.
it wasn't me then, right?
Wasn't
It's the TV.
anyone.
I was just I was just saying that the media loves when we lose.
Mm-hmm.
They love it. Whenever anything negative happens to us, like not like, to us, then they laugh. They love it because they know how we respond to it, right?
Yeah.
So it
And
has nothing to do with me wanting my team to lose. No, not at all.
having one of the biggest fan bases plays into that. Tony, last 5 years we've had mixed results. Lost to Brentford last season. We beat Fulham with Willian turning up for the first game of the season.
One of the two games he showed up for.
We beat Newcastle away from home. That'll probably never happen again. With Aubameyang scoring that goal. Ainsley Maitland-Niles cross, I might add. We lost to City under Unai Emery first game, and we won under Arsene Wenger at Leicester City. And maybe I win from Sunday. I predicted Leicester City, Gary, that we'd have Leicester City first. Tony predicted Man United. You predicted Forest, Gary. Do I get like a little?
No, nothing.
Because
Let's
look,
move
the
on.
second game. Look,
you
right
get
there.
nothing. You get nothing.
The
You
second.
get nothing, and you like it.
All right.
That'd be like saying me, I get Man United because it's.
Let's look at August then, Tony. Palace away from home, Leicester, and we got 3 home games here, right? In the month of August. This is where we have to hit the ground running. Put the rubber on the road. Palace away, Leicester City at home, Bournemouth away, not a bad one. Fulham at home, another promoted team, and Villa at home.
Yeah, that gives good time to try in the new players, get everybody acquainted with each other before you start hitting the road. But the first ones will be a tough one. You never know about Leicester. They usually start the season strong. It's usually the middle part they fade. So I don't think it's a guarantee. I see a lot of people say we'd win our first 6 games. It's just, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, look, you're not going to come out and win 6 games in a row, but you might get 5 wins and a draw somewhere. You might just get 5 wins out of the 6. Gary, storylines are going to be great. You got Vieira playing against Vieira, maybe if our Vieira plays. You got Tielemans playing at home, his home debut against his old team. If we get Tielemans, maybe you have Bernd Leno coming back with Fulham. There's lots of storylines going on there in August.
Yeah, there's always a hook. Yeah, I mean, those games have to. I mean, if we're talking about where we want to be, those games have to be games we win. So that's got to be the mindset going in, right? We're talking about whatever our expectations are. They're hopefully better than where we finished last season. So we have to be able to win those games. And we keep saying if we were healthy, we would have won those games. So Palace, if we're healthy, and we say we did nothing, we should be able to beat Palace. I think everybody said if we had a healthy squad, we wouldn't have lost certain games. Well, we should be healthy going into that as long as we don't have these preseason injuries or another COVID issue. We should expect to win that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the only reason why it was going to be a struggle for us is we just did not have we didn't have the depth. We had to lean on the depth, right? So.
Especially
Which one of those 5 games should we
areas.
be thinking about losing if we have a healthy squad? None of them, right? There should be wins. The only reason why they're not wins is because of things we can't control, like injuries and COVID. But if your squad is deep, it doesn't matter.
This is one thing we need to overcome. Our record against Palace is not good. lots of draws in there, a few defeats, and we've only won one game in 8. That's something, a new Arteta team, if we're going to be building a mental fortitude within the squad, they
Yeah.
have to go out and this is a new team. They can't worry about old results against Palace,
Yeah.
and they got to start forging like Newcastle did against us. They didn't worry about their previous record against us up
Well,
at
and how many of these players are part of those 7 losses? Not that many, right?
No,
El Neni
not many.
probably, Xhaka. Who else?
Xhaka, Rob Holding. That's
Yeah.
about it, really. You can't
Right.
think there's anyone else.
So yeah, so I think it, like, those numbers only matter if you were part of them. The sting, like you said, of the last game should be enough to propel this team to come out and want to perform a lot better. So, the healthy players and the new players all should hopefully contribute, and it doesn't really matter. For me, it shouldn't matter who starts in the first game of the season. They should all know what Arteta wants. So
Ready to go. Yeah.
none of this, like, well, this guy's out because of injured, this guy's out because of that. So the next person that comes in can't do the job. That's then on the team, right?
Leicester City will be the second game we come back to the Emirates and we play at home. Tony, what kind of Leicester City team are we going to face? We don't know, right?
You never know with them. You don't know with the players are just sell off. So it's going to be hard to say. Like I said, usually they start the season pretty strong. They kind of fade in the middle part.
Our Leicester in a cycle, Gary. Every team has a cycle. They grow, they get really good, they win something. Okay, they won the title in spectacular fashion 6 years ago. Won an FA Cup recently. But are they on the dip now? Are they falling off the cliff?
I guess they don't necessarily. They don't have that Vardy, right? They don't have that player that they can just depend on to get the ball to him and he'll score. They don't have that. So every once in a while, if you give them opportunities, they will take it. But in reality, they don't. They don't have that same level that of a squad that they had before. So yeah, they're taking a little dip and they haven't been able to reload, as they say. So yeah. And if we're able to get Tielemans and they can upgrade the squad to replace him,
I
all
think
the better for us.
Tielemans, obviously he's going to see Arsenal as a step forward in his career as well. As a player, you want to progress, you want to go to better teams, and Arsenal will be a better team than Leicester. Gary, Bournemouth and Fulham, can take those in tandem. 2 teams that are going to come up from the Championship are promoted. Of course, they'll have played through 2 games and 3 games already with other teams, but and maybe they would have lost a couple of games by then, So we may be facing a desperate Bournemouth that needs to get something on the board.
Yeah, but you know what? We're not the one, right?
That's got to stop. You're right. We're not.
We are not the one that when you see Arsenal on the schedule, you don't go, all right. There's an opportunity there for I can't be the way that teams look at us, like they have an opportunity, and we can't fall into the trap and actually give them stuff that they don't deserve, right? If you give them, yeah. Does that mean you're going, Tony? You're booking.
I'm going to try and do this as well.
Yeah, but you don't have the semifinals next to you like I do. Dallas and Kansas City.
He's going to stay with you, Gary.
Well, it's Philadelphia. What is? I don't know what's going on. There's Philadelphia, New York, right? It says New Jersey, New York. So I'm not sure where they're having it. If
there's a Turbo opening, that's Rutherford.
It's that one.
East Rutherford. Okay.
Yeah. Arsenal need to start setting their own standards. Stop comparing Arteta's teams to any previous Arsenal and any previous teams.
Yeah, he doesn't have a style similar to theirs, and he's not there yet in terms of his level, his experience to know better at this point, and he doesn't seem to have the people on the bench to help him along the way either. So for me, We just have to. We're gonna have to. We're just gonna have to deal with what we see, right?
Our August could really get kick-started by a win against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Barely got a draw in the first game. Tony's been reminding us about
95th minute goal by Lacazette.
Yes, but that's the roller coaster. Oh, we're not
That
going
we
into
don't
the
want,
season,
Ray.
are
We don't want a roller coaster.
We're not going to carry that into
Do we
next
want to be
season,
drawing against Crystal Palace in the 95th?
If we were, but here we go. So if we were healthy going into that Crystal Palace game, you guys would have thought we would have lost still.
No, we had
playing
injuries.
at home.
We had injuries. Oh, at home.
Didn't we play them at home? Was that where
we were
played
pretty
them?
healthy? We were pretty healthy in that game.
Yeah.
So it was after the international break, both of them. Both games are after the international break.
There was two key mistakes, Gary, by both of our central defenders, Gabriel and Ben White. Two key mistakes.
I guess you know what that was. That game was away. So, but I kind of felt like going into that one, we needed to wash off that stink from the Liverpool game, and we seemed to get away with it against the Villa game, but then it was still there, right? And that's the other part of this thing. We can't lose the next game because we lost the previous one.
Yeah.
It cannot roll into, it can't be we lost that last 100%. One. So you know what? We're just not going to be mentally and physically ready to play the next one. It can't be the way it works. We need to come out with a little bit more vigor, a little bit more urgency.
For us to progress and be better, we can't lose 13 games. We have to lose less than 10 games.
Well, then, and all the games, all the losses are bunched together every time.
Yeah.
We always lose one or two. Like you look at our losses, we lost 3 out of the first 4. Then we lost 3 out of 4 again. Then we lost 3 out of. We lost 3 out of 5. 3 out of 4 again. Then we lost 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5, and we lost 2 in a row. I mean, we just cannot wash off that stink of a loss and redeem ourselves in the next match. We just kind of string these losses together. So we have little bunches of losses. Look at that. Lost 3 and it's the start. Then we lost to Liverpool in that next string, right? Then we lost.
The next string is Everton and United, and Liverpool was the first in that string.
Yeah, then we lost this. Then we lost. So every one of them has one of the big 3 embedded in there, right? So we start. When we lost to City, Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool, all in that. In that one big group. Then once again we lose to Liverpool. It turns into 3 losses in a row, right? Then we lost to Tottenham. I said that name. and then we lost to Newcastle after that. So we cannot just we take that loss to us to the next game. You can't do that. All right.
Like Tony, you took a loss in disc golf today.
You took a loss. You took a loss. He had a bad throw. You know what? Here's the thing. You had that first. You have a bad throw, bad toss, or whatever you want to call it.
You take them all.
The next toss can't be all. Well, I missed the last one, so I'm going to miss this. So I'm probably going to miss this one too. Nah, right? You come out the next one. You're like, I got this. Whatever you're doing it. Yeah. Or you're throwing it into like the
double
little
down, Tony.
The little cage thing or whatever. Is that what you're doing, Tony?
Yep, throwing it into the cage.
Thing with like the chains on it.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff
the chains. Like that. It's people in Europe will. I only found out about this game in the last year, so I do not play.
Yeah, I think
frisbee. You're throwing the
high school or the rec league around here has a really good squad. They went to the state final, I think, for it or whatever. So
I wish I could have done that in high school.
Basically, you're throwing a frisbee into a bin, but it helps you drop it into bin because there's a series of chains hanging down. The chains you had hanging out of your clothing in the 80s and 90s. Now you got them hanging out of bins. Anyway.
So you look at this lineup, right? The biggest games that we have is the United game, the Liverpool game, the Chelsea game, right? And they're so close together that if we let them affect us like they have in the past, we could, like that whole October, right? I think it's October, could just be painful because you play United away, you
Well,
struggle there.
I was waiting.
Everton, you drop to Everton and Brighton like we've done in the
I
past.
was
Then we're
waiting to
playing.
get there. But
Oh,
save the pain
no.
for later. Save the pain
Okay,
for
sorry,
later.
sorry.
You're jumping. You're jumping
So I mean
way.
that's why the August September we have to get those. Those are point. Those when you start stacking your points, right? Right. I mean, there's really only one game there that you might drop points and feel like, all right, that's probably going to happen. But every other game, you have basically a win. There's wins there.
There's wins
Yeah.
there, and I think what we're going to do in a future podcast, maybe closer, maybe part of the predictions, is we're going to maybe predict how many points we're going to get before the end of the season, all that good stuff. So you got all summer to think about it. Gary, I did say earlier this week we would probably get 3 games versus the top 4 in this first 16 games. We've actually gotten 4 from the top 4. That team, the North London Derby, will be October 1st, and we'll go back to September in a minute. Then that's followed by Liverpool, so that's tough, right? And City and Chelsea. But anyway, I told you not to jump ahead.
Hey, you skipped Leeds.
Here's me jumping.
Sounds
Oh
everywhere.
yeah,
Oh, Leeds is we're considering Leeds
big team.
a top tier team in the league.
Yep.
He's had 5 transfer windows. The squad lacks proper spine. Conte has now had to look at the difference in squad depth. When you're starting from a position, a squad that's in decent shape. But how long is that Spurs team going to be together for?
Yeah, but they just signed 3 new players already. That will help them.
You missed all that. You're going to have to rewind. We talked about that already, right, Gary?
Yes,
Told
we
you
did.
you're missing.
When Gary comes on, he gets to talk about stuff.
No, I told you.
No,
You're
I don't
missing.
come on an hour later and ask you guys to talk about everything you talked about in the first 5 minutes.
Ray just did
So,
that
no.
Sunday.
Tony,
Tony.
no.
What did I tell you, Tony? You miss half the show. You miss half the fun.
I don't-
No, you
I
said
don't-
I missed half of fun. That's what you said.
You want to do the whole show again?
Yeah, we'd have to go through the whole thing again. Talk about Fabio. But anyway,
Talk about how all of us have to learn fucking Portuguese.
Tony, Bournemouth and Fulham, they'll represent some difficulties for us because they'll be championship teams
No.
coming up.
No.
Okay.
No, you're
Aston
making
Villa.
excuses. We're not making excuses for teams that just got
Fulham
promoted.
can't go back to
Sorry.
being one of our bogey games.
I can't. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, it can't be one of
No
our
more.
bogey teams.
Come on.
Again, right?
No more does the team that just got promoted come in and we're like, it's a really tough look. The last time we played them there, which we played Fulham, right? We played Fulham. Oh, it wasn't tough. No, we beat them. Willian made his name in that game, right?
Yeah, but the game at the Emirates, Eddie Nketiah scored a last-minute goal to tie.
Yeah, because that's where we are in our squad. We kind of like we can start strong and we finish a little bit weak.
Right.
That can't be happening.
September, 5 games. Are we taking 13 points from 15? Happy enough with the draw, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I had definitely 4 wins. So
4 wins and a draw, 13 points from.
We need at
5
least 4
games.
wins out of that first 5 for me.
Things looking good in September. Moving into September, and now we got Man United away from home. Ten Hag. This is a fixture we usually do well in, but we let that game get away from us last season. The Ronaldo, did he score 3 goals or 2 goals on us?
2.
3 maybe. 2 was
I think he scored 4 on us over for the season.
Then he scored a hat trick.
So that was 3 in the first one and 2 in the second one.
Yeah, he scored.
I thought
1.
Bruno scored in the first one because that was when carrying. I think it's 2 and 2. I think he scored 2 and 2.
He only got the one goal at home anyway, but
because he got the penalty and at home. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
For us, yeah. Tony, Man United away from home. It's got to be one of those where United are in turmoil. Ten Hag will have 5 games he'll have had September. Maybe they're finding some semblance of a pattern of play, but we still should be further along in our development to beat Man United.
You never know with that team or that game. They're up and down. Against us, they can be really good or really bad, and come in and get a win or a loss. The game always kind of a toss-up, kind of like with North London Derby is. So it's a team we should be able to beat, though. We want top 4. We need to beat them right off the bat.
Man United. Funnily enough, I was looking at the opening weekend of fixtures, and Leeds are going to play Wolverhampton Wanderers, so that's going to be an interesting one against Mark from Mr. Tom. Everton at home, last game of the season, we comfortably beat Everton. Of course, it's going to be a different game, but this is another game we should win, Tony.
Yeah, it should be.
I don't think Frank is going to be able to progress them too much further. Brentford away from home. Some talk of Christian Eriksen maybe going to Tottenham or Man United, but Brentford have been a decent team. And, this will be shades of the first game from last season as well. We'd want to go to Brentford and put in a display there, Tony.
Yeah, we started off last season, even though we were down, we should have had the players to get a win in that first one. They kind of ended up dropping form near the end of the season, but they'll still be a pretty solid mid-tiered, mid-table team.
Okay, that's the fixtures in September. How many points do you think you're getting from those 9? I will put us down for 6.
6 wins.
6 points
from
from those 3. Man United away, Everton at home, Brentford away.
I think we'll get 7.
All right, you'll get 7. Okay. I don't believe that Arsenal are not attracting the right players because they're not in the Champions League only. Arsenal are developing a bad reputation as a club also. Thoughts, if any? I don't believe that Arsenal are not attracting the right players because they're not in the Champions League only. I would argue that the recruitment's starting to get a little bit better. I don't think we've had bad recruitment in the last 12 months.
The last 3 years has been fairly good, I think, except for totally fucked up this winter by not strengthening. But other than that, we've done great in the summer.
Vincent Company turning up at Burnley. That is interesting. I heard about that earlier today. I'm feeling Man City will loan Burnley about 5 players. Very possible. October then, Tony, we'll have played 8 games into the season. Our 9th game will be the North London Derby at home to Spurs. Traditionally, we've had the better of Spurs in the last couple of seasons at home. It's been a way where we've struggled. So, playing at home to Tottenham.
Yeah, I think I might get a point, but I think that's probably the best we'll get.
We will be in the midst of the Europa League group stages as well. We'll be rotating.
Hopefully rotating, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, well, if you're going to get 2 players for every position, then you should be rotating, right?
Should be.
I think we'll have some time as well as we're going to go till November here in terms of the fixtures, and we'll pick up the rest of the fixtures on the next podcast at the weekend. It possibly could be Saturday as well. Keep posted for that. Yeah, we're going to finish this out because the World Cup is going to be the break in the season, The next one, we'll also have a home game against Liverpool. This is going to be tough. October is going to be very, very tough, Tony.
Yeah, you could say that.
I just did. Tottenham at home, Liverpool at home. We go away to Ellen Road. That's got to be 3 points again, Tom. Sorry. It seems like every time we play Leeds, we have to get 3 points. We're definitely going to be desperately needing that because we play City. This could be a situation where we don't get many points in these 4 games, Tony.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough month. It
October.
seems like we struggle every October.
The only
No matter
good
who we're
thing,
playing.
the only good we got in October now, Gary. Yeah, we're looking at a 4 game stretch with that team, the North London Derby.
Yeah.
Liverpool. I told Mr. Tom we definitely have to get 3 points. It's a must. And City at home. We got 3 home games against top teams that are supposed to be.
Yeah,
top.
I mean, we have to get at the minimum 4 points out of those 3 games.
Yeah.
Minimum
4 games.
4 points. Well, of the three teams, Leeds we have to, that should be a win for us. So I'm
Okay,
thinking we
so
need at least 7
we need a
points
win.
out of those 4
We need
games.
a win in the North London Derby or against Liverpool or against City.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Assemble's asking if I would be surprised if Jesus didn't turn up at Arsenal. I'd be very surprised. I will actually flip this. I'll guarantee that Jesus is an Arsenal player by the end of the month. Is that fair
By the
enough?
end of the month. What do you mean end of the month? We just
That'd be the end of a week.
just talked about Fabio Vieira.
Well,
how do you forget his last name?
And by 5 o'clock, it was essentially done. So
Yeah.
there's for me, if that's where you are in terms of if there's players that the deal can be done, then Jesus should be done. And there's been lots of reports that both sides have agreed.
What would the reason be that he wouldn't end up at Arsenal? Somebody else comes in and
right now, there's nothing like that out there. There's no talk like
Nothing.
somebody has out there. Right now, it's. I thought some of the reports I saw seemed to say Arsenal and City have agreed.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
first
yes, Assembled.
We offered 30 million. They want 50.
I would even. Well, I think Sunday might be a little bit close to get everything ratified, but I'm definitely by the end of the month. I think Jesus is an Arsenal player.
You're saying 2 weeks from now, Jesus will have
Officially.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So why are we spending a whole month on him?
It could be sooner.
No, but what would mean that it would take another 2 weeks to bring him in?
I don't know. That just
seems like you just threw a number out there, which makes no sense. It should be done, but we should be talking about this on Sunday that the deal is pretty much done.
I agree.
Because the way the progress that has been made so far, it is or isn't happening in less than a week. I mean, if it goes a week, that to me is you're wasting your time. Either you don't want to spend the money, or he doesn't want to come. Supposedly they want 50, and they are not budging, and Arsenal doesn't really bring much to the table to negotiate. Just pay the 50 and move on. You need him. So what is the issue? You know what I mean? I'd rather they have gotten Jesus than gotten Fabio Vieira if you're kind of balancing what's required, right?
He started
Fabio, that team said, no, we don't want the release clause. We're going to give you less. Why would they do that?
Or wonder if the rumors that we're willing to sell Tavares is true or not. For 40 million.
Sell Tavares for 40 million? Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Tony, you sure you weren't doing something more than bingo? and
Says it on there, Gary.
Steph cooking in Game 6. Celtics are getting destroyed right now.
It's switched code.
That's it. The Celtics' back have been broken.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I just covered myself for the end of the month.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why would you say that? What do you mean covering yourself?
There you go.
Arsenal had put an asking price.
If somebody's going to go out and spend 40 after what we just spent on him.
You know when you don't want to sell, you put an asking price is pretty high, Tony. So Arsenal don't want to sell. Anyway, Gary,
if you got 40 for Tavares, you take it. That's not
Pounds
like,
or euros. It
like
doesn't
even
matter.
if you could, because you
They
can go out
didn't.
and spend
Sorry.
another. You can go out and spend another 10
Sorry.
on a player at that same level.
It didn't say that there. It didn't say there's a team willing to pay 40 million.
No, I'm saying if they're interested, it said they're interested.
No, it said Arsenal have put a price tag of 40
And what did it say about Atalanta?
There's no money. There's no
What did it
money in
say?
Italy.
Hold on, let me go back to it.
Fiorentina have banked all that Vlahovic money.
Atlanta are interested.
Teams interested in him.
Not at
If
40.
they got 16, if you sold him for
Yeah.
double what you spent, then you're laughing, right?
But here's another report on it.
We're getting stymied.
Atlanta interested in Arsenal Nuno Tavares, but Gunners want a dry loan or an option for 40 million included.
See, and these are the things that don't make any sense. Like
That's
Arsenal is
people talk.
trying
Don't
to sell
believe it.
players for like
Don't
3 and
believe
4
it.
times what they're worth, supposedly.
Gary, if it doesn't make sense.
Well, this is the reason why that's silly is because that's the same thing that happened to Ben White. Ben White wasn't for sale, but we wanted him so badly that we had to spend
Ben
all
White
that
is
extra
not
money on him.
Tavares. Ben White was worth that. Tavares is not worth 40.
He's not worth that.
Think about it.
He's not worth that.
Think about it.
He's not worth 50.
If it doesn't make sense, then it's not a real
If
story.
it doesn't make sense, and Arsenal does it is the phrase.
All right. We're going to finish out the podcast in a few minutes. We might actually talk a few minutes to recap everything for Tony because he came to the show a little bit
Now he
late.
wants to do the show again.
No, not really.
You like repeating yourself, Gary? Come on.
Southampton away from home, Gary, and Forest at home to round out October.
Yeah, we need to whatever the gauntlet that we go through. We need to come out of that going. You know what? Somebody's going to pay. So that's Southampton, and that's Forest.
We should do this. Right after Tony's the weekly segment. But Gary's involved in this as well. Gary's
Why you keep bringing me into this thing?
You're
on the show, Gary. That's why.
Don't bring me in. No, it's called the Ray. It's called the Ray Louse at Tony Transfer Rumors segment, not and Gary. Yeah.
All right, Tom, work him into the title. Come on.
And
No, that's fine. No, he doesn't
Ray
have.
and Morty.
No, like I said, so like the assemble says here, what is taking so long? If you don't want to pay for him, move on.
That's like
What's the point, right? Like Arsenal's that team. The team says we're gonna start talking at 50. Arsenal's like 35. We're gonna start talking at 50.
First offered like 20 million.
37.
The player has been away on internationals, like Tielemans.
No, not for the teams talking it. What does that have to do with Gabriel? Nothing.
He wants to be involved. He likes to be
He
involved.
has nothing to do with the teams, what the teams spend money. What does a player care what the team wants to spend on you?
He's already agreed personal terms. He doesn't care about what fee.
Well, no, but the Ray says that he wants to be part of this team discussion as to how much he's worth.
Where do you come up with this shit sometimes?
I'm joking.
Because that's what Ray just said. I'm going by what he tells me.
I said, where does Ray? I didn't say where does.
I don't. Yeah, where is Ray? I don't know.
Gary, I'm like clickbait. You need to determine whether I'm telling the truth or not.
I just want you to stop. So
is Ray being facetious or not?
Stop with the clickbait. You don't need to clickbait. Let's have a discussion here where you're not trying. You're like the media laughing at Arsenal and going, you know what? If I can set this up so Arsenal fails and we get extra clicks,
Tony,
then I enjoy it. That's what you're doing.
You're like that fish that bites at everything. If the rain hits the surface, you're biting.
Well, I just want to call you out so you can look. You don't look so good. It's like what you keep saying nonsense over and over again. Please stop saying nonsense.
All right. Last two fixtures before we sign off in November. Chelsea away and Wolves away. So we've emerged from a really tough October. Maybe we've gotten some points from Southampton and Forest. Now we face Chelsea and Wolverhampton Wanderers. And this is where it's going to be legitimate, Tony, for you to be really afraid of Wolves. Last season you were afraid of Wolves. I told you not to be afraid. This season you can be.
Don't tell me what to think, right?
You don't control me.
What's the date? What's the date of the Wolves game?
The last game is the 12th of November.
So 6 days before the World Cup,
Yeah,
where our players will already probably be gone.
yeah. The players will be, Gary, toward the end of October and coming into November, the players will be thinking about a World Cup and not jumping into a challenge that's 50-50.
I don't want those players. I don't want the players that are thinking about, I don't want to. I want to play in the next game, so I'm not going to play in this one. What's the point? Is that we keep talking about the kind of players that we want to bring? You don't want to be a player that, because that's almost like saying, you know what, I've got a Champions League match coming up. I won't go into this challenge on Sunday.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah. But that's not the players you want.
Liverpool have players like that.
Like when a player comes to you and says, "Why am I sitting?" Well, because you know what, you don't want to play before the big games.
Mo Salah is not jumping into challenges. Okay. All right, I'll stop. Arthur putting so much.
You brought Morty out. You brought Morty out.
I'm telling you,
took 2 hours, but we got there. Arthur putting so much expectations on Jesus. He's being set up to fail. He won't be able to live up to the hype of being the perfect piece to Arteta's master plan. So you're saying he won't get chances. Tony, do you think we'll be able to create chances for Jesus?
We already got wingers. We're getting more wingers. So, yes, they'll be set up.
We had two of the top, creators in the league. And they were young, so we're expecting them to get a little bit better, which means they still hopefully will be in that top 10 position, producing opportunities for us. So they're gonna be there, So you have better players at the end of those things. Hopefully, you get better results, right? So we keep saying that we need better players. Well, this is a better player, so bring him in, right?
Mr. Tom said Mo Salah didn't do much or anything since he got back from AFCON, and remains to be seen what Liverpool do. Tony, we're going to come full circle. Arsenal full circle for Tony here. We're going to recap the news of the day, Tony. So,
did you hear, Tony? Did you hear
the news?
We got a number 10 when we got 2 already.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! We don't have.
I know we need depth, but
we don't have 2 number 10s.
He said it'd be. We don't have 2. We don't have Smith Rowe and Odegaard.
He's not playing 10, and he does when he even comes in to play 10. We all look at it and go, "He's not."
Right 8.
He wants to be a wing.
It's a right 8.
He's always on the left, right? So how can he be right?
No, you haven't watched any YouTube videos. If you did, you've watched him in the mirror because he's mostly been set up on the right-hand side when he plays.
Nobody's signed, but I did see what looked like a report that said Nketiah is going to wear the number 14. So there you go.
And Nketiah is getting the 14 theory on range.
I think that's the worst part of the news today, that he's going to be our second striking option. That's just, he's not good enough.
What I don't get is why do you we keep talking about putting pressure on players, and we give them numbers that have so much pressure behind them just wearing them, much less having to perform like that.
If the weight of the badge is too much, then don't wear the shirt. Didn't somebody say that? The
badge and the number on the back are to me are almost 2 different things. Like you're saying when you put that 14 on, what is that? Who what are we expecting to see?
Who do you think about? Yeah. Exactly. And
I agree with Stan.
As that's how old he looks.
Yeah, I mean, I understand wanting a number, but dude, it carries. Like you said, it carries weight.
Great. This might be the comment of the night here. Tony spent 6 months being no signings, and
Mr. Tom was married. That's
That's news.
That is news right there.
Satisfied.
Mr. Tom said yes at one point.
Who the hell said yes to Tom?
Well, there you go. That is the other part of that question.
And you remind him of her, Tony, is another question again.
Mr. Tom.
I thought we were going to get into a roundup of
One good thing about the World Cup is that Saka and Ramsdale will get a nice break off.
America knocks them out. There you go.
Apparently, I was really bad, Gary. England were so bad. Was it?
Ramsdale was so bad.
All right. Do you blame Ramsdale for all of the goals, Tony?
Ramsdale gets beat on the near post consistently.
You know why?
And he got beat at least
shot stoppers in the league.
3 times on the near post.
Don't lie, right?
I think he gambles a little bit, Gary. I think he anticipates.
At some point, you got to say that's not working because I keep giving up goals when I keep doing the same thing over.
They were crisp. Some of those were crisp finishes. I wouldn't.
Yeah, but he's not protecting it. He's not. He doesn't even. He's so flat-footed. He's never going to make it stop. There you go.
I was gonna say, was it the beard that reminds Mr. Tom? But I wasn't gonna go there.
Oh my god!
Mr. Tom,
I nicknamed her Pegs. She wasn't impressed.
Oh man!
You need to get the tweezers.
Well, that is interesting, right? Tony doesn't want us to bring players in because it might create more competition in the squad. Guess what? We didn't have last season was competition in the squad.
Yeah, but should a number 10 been priority?
Does it matter? We had 3 strikers. None of them worked for us.
Shouldn't we be bringing in at least 2 strikers instead of 1?
We keep talking about trying to be like the big squads. Guess what? They're 2 and 3 deep. Right? We're barely 2 deep as it is. So if we can get 3 deep, that's all the better for us.
We need central and defensive midfielders. Attacking midfielders, we don't really.
We need depth everywhere, more than we had, which means we need depth everywhere.
Tony, where do you see Vieira playing? Where do you see Fabio playing for us?
At number 10 in Europa?
Yeah. Gary and I thought that he would be like the depth behind Erdegaard. You know, there's enough games for everybody. This is going to happen. So you're happy with the deal? Arsenal moving fast, Tony.
Yeah. Nobody hurt. Seen this deal coming and just came out of the blue.
It's the way you like it, right?
Yeah.
Fast.
Kind of like Gabriel and some of those ones. Instead of ones like Tyranny that drag on all fucking summer over $2 million.
So, Tony, Jesus and Tillman still number 1 priority for us, right? They are the positions that fit.
Yep. I think we should be looking for 2 strikers instead of 1.
Why? Because that would give us 3 strikers. Why do you want 3 strikers?
Because we've always had 3 strikers.
Oh.
You don't need 3 fucking attacking midfielders.
You don't?
No.
What? Why do you need 3 strikers and not 3 attacking mids? I don't get the logic there.
Because strikers go in and out of form a lot more than.
And attacking mids that never go out of form.
And this is the thing that Arteta has said recently. We need to get back to the days where we have a lot of technical midfield players. We need to get back into that cycle, and I think Arteta is addressing that with Fabio Vieira.
I was thinking he wanted another place.
He may not be. This is not a bad thing, though. He may not be in our first 11, but he will be in the squad.
He'll be part of all Portuguese speaking 11
match days, and the Portuguese
players.
Build
the whole team that speaks Portuguese, right?
Yes, yeah. Portuguese players generally will settle as well within England, so that's a good thing. Tony, is there anything else you? I'm just going to round out the show here. Alonso's jumping in.
Trying to get back into this thing.
We're just about to say our goodbyes, Alonso. So
Alonso likes to
say goodbye, Alonso.
The credits are like rolling, and Alonso's like, "All right, let me in. Let me get some of my minutes in."
Nah, just rough work, guys. So it's been a difficult day at work, but I mean, I found out we got Pablo Vieira. What's his name? Fabio. Vieira. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. You know, I think that Arteta knows what he's doing. I guess. You know, so this is number 10 winger striker kind of guy. So you can play multiple positions. So
don't say 10. Don't say 10.
Oh, I forgot. That's the most for right.
8. It's an 8.
It's a 6.
It's an 8.
I'm joking. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think that it took time to get the ball rolling, but yeah, I'm encouraged by it. I think that
or the frisbee going in the air. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it caught off. I guess it caught everyone off guard, right? Because we were always looking for someone with a big name, and it's just quite remarkable that there's diamond in the rough. Kind of like our Trevor was. And it's quite impressive that he found Fabio Vieira um, right there. And I told my friend, I was like, listen, there's a lot of talent in Portugal and in Portuguese league.
Yeah.
It's shit nobody wants to find, nobody wants to look. And if they do look, they're going to Liverpool or Man City, or Wolves. So we got ourselves a Portuguese, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. This shows for me the club is moving in the right direction. We're going to try and get things done before the preseason starts. Mr. Tom says show was 7 out of 10, but now Alonso's here, 9.4. Maybe Tony can push it up to a 9.7 with a very
Tony was already here.
With a very valuable final
Tony probably
comment.
brought us down. We were probably like hovering around an 8, and all of a sudden Tony shows up and we dip, and then Lonzo shows up and we go back up again.
It's like
Tony with his frisbee talk. You know what? You should have said you were playing bingo. Bingo plays, man.
You got it wrong.
Hey,
bingo plays.
It's like the Richter scale. It's like the Richter scale. It goes up and down.
There you go.
All right.
You said you came in and won bingo. We would have been that'd have been rolling. That would have like the charts would have went up. All of the metrics would have went up. All the analytics would have just went to the ceiling. But no, he came in with his disco frisbee or whatever it is they call it.
4 years when it comes to Houston.
All right. Final words, Tony. I will give the regulars the final word tonight, Gary and myself, who are here for the whole show.
Go ahead.
Tony, final word.
You can do it.
Gary? Final
Tony
thought?
doesn't want to give final words now?
I guess not.
Lonzo doesn't want to give final words either?
I'll do it, I guess. If you don't mind.
I thought you did go already, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess you're right. Go ahead, Nan.
Go ahead, Alonso.
Yeah, so again, I'm sorry late. I missing out on a podcast night. It's something that I look forward to. But this morning I saw an encouraging notification on BBC, as well as I believe visual report that he got Fabio Vieira. So even though we give Arteta a hard time and give Edu a hard time, and maybe rightfully so. I mean, they're surprising us, and it kind of shows that this transfer window is moving in the right direction. That we need more people, but as far as it goes, this is an encouraging sign, and it's someone we need not only to start but also for depth, because we're going to need it coming up with time, and as well as yeah, I mean, I think that so far so good. It's only like a week in the window, kind of six days in the window. So this is a moving in the right direction to me.
Yeah. And the assemble said, didn't Arsenal's midfield problem start when the midfield became technical without much physicality? Arsenal need a balance of both physicality and technical skill as well. Stan said Fabregas ended us having a destroyer in the side. But what a talent Fabregas was. Tony?
I never rated him that high. He came back to Chelsea, basically did nothing there. Didn't do much at Barcelona.
Tony's takes. I think we need to do a Tony's takes podcast.
You sure you want to do that?
Tony's hot takes. I never rated Fabregas.
I did.
Is that what you just said, Tony?
Yeah.
What is a nickname for him that fits? Because I don't. Tony. Come on, dude.
Tony the Tiger.
He's overrated.
Oh, what can you do?
Doesn't that say something about him? We had the first option on him, and we said no.
Yep. All because
nothing afterwards.
Mesut Ozil blocked his path coming back. Gary?
Yes, people. So here we are. I wouldn't even say it's a big domino in our transfer business, but it is a big cog, I think, in the wheel arsenal. It's good to see us, go in with players that we want and finish the deal quickly and move on. I believe Jesus is a player that should be on that same level and go out there and just get the deal done and move on. As far as I'm concerned, keep seeing all these reports that the deals have been agreed upon, but nothing about the deal should be done tomorrow. So like Ray, maybe it is 2 weeks from here, but 3 days from now, it should be a done deal, or it should be we're not doing it anymore because it's silly. How much back and forth do you need to go on to get a deal done? It's been 2 weeks, it seems.
Well,
It was it needs to be done with international football. Well, that's done now. If the deal would have been could have been closed once it's done, bring him on. You know what? We didn't like you either, Mr. Tom. You bring negativity to the show. Your takes are whack. You just don't know anything about football. It's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
He is Premier League. Say he is Premier League.
Oh, is that?
He is Premier League. Say he is Premier League.
2 years in the Premier League? No, not 2 years. I'm just kidding.
He's enjoying the ride.
Yeah, definitely enjoying the ride. But like I said, I kind of feel like these big Jesus and Tielemans, those deals need to be done yesterday, as far as I'm concerned, because there isn't much more to do except for just figure out if you want to spend that money. All right? I don't understand what this back and forth. At some point, if the team says this is what they're looking for and you don't want to pay it, then you better come.
Well, when they want $50 million and you start off at 25, there's kind of
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Then what do? Come back with 27? You got to make the number has to be realistic.
We're at 30 now.
Supposedly, I heard 30 got rejected, and then they're going to come back closer to 50, which they don't need that. They want him to stay and play him. So. He wants to go. That's why you have to use that as a leverage. The player doesn't want to be with you. Let him go. So like I said, I just hope these deals finish quickly. Let's get them or move on.
Backstage pass there for maybe Mr. Tom. I don't
know. Mr. Tom, come on, man.
Maybe Stan.
BX said he would come on next time, so we have to see if
Arson said he blocked Fabregas coming back to show the young players that once
BX did promise he'd come back.
An exception for Henry. Listen, just a final point.
So here we go. You comparing Henry to Fabregas?
Me?
Are they on the same level? You brought Henry back. Wow. The man's got a statue in the front of the stadium.
Henry,
and Fabregas, what? Doesn't have a statue of one.
Yeah, I know.
Not considered one of the best players in the Premier League.
Not everyone.
Considered a good one, but not one of the best that ever played.
He made an exception for Henry, but he wouldn't make an exception for Fabregas because of Ozil, and we know Ozil was one of the favorites.
And that's when you know that you've got it. That's when you do. So that's a red flag right there.
Positive, yeah.
Right, because that means that you can't have players that will challenge.
Tom, did you steal some of my weed?
Gary, at least business is getting done in middle of June, not middle of July. Okay, that's a step in the right direction. And thanks for joining tonight, Gary.
Yes, thank you for having me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us.
We're on 100% of the flight.
Good to have you on, even though you don't like us for some reason.
Tony got on one of our layovers, and
I just jumped parachuted out of another plane.
Alonso got on when we were landing, but we'll see you on the next one, everyone.